Control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
Whether it's baseball season, basketball playoffs, or hockey playoffs, experience it live this spring with Vivid Seats. With one of the most reliable rewards programs in the business, Vivid Seats makes it easy to score great deals on great seats with a 100% buyer guarantee. Plus, with Vivid Seats rewards, you can earn with every ticket purchase, including surprise seat upgrades, birthday discounts, free tickets, and more. Just visit vividseats.com or download the app today. Vivid Seats, the official ticketing partner of ESPN.
Jacksonville is the largest city in the contiguous U.S. in square miles. So when you have to cover breaking news over an area bigger than L.A., Phoenix, or Dallas, you need an advantage. Action News Jax, with a fleet of news-gathering drones to take you to breaking news live as it happens. And with more investigative reporters on the ground. In every local county, you're informed no matter where you live. Action News Jax. Local coverage you can count on.
Attention men and women. If you would like to get your hair back, then you need to listen to some of our clients. John in Orange Park.
IHRS showed me what was causing my hair loss and helped stop it.
Call IHRS now at 904-777-IHRS. Find out how to grow your hair back with a free hair and scalp examination. Mike from Bay Meadows.
I finally found the most experienced company who could restore my hair. Now I have hair where I had none before.
Results guaranteed. Diane from Ponte Vedra.
Now I have what lotions couldn't give me. Thick, beautiful hair.
Find out why you're losing your hair and how to grow your hair back. Call 904-777-IHRS for a limited time free hair and scalp examination.
Now my hair will grow for the rest of my life. Thanks, IHRS.
Thank you, IHRS.
Thanks, IHRS, for giving me my hair back.
Hurry and receive a free hair and scalp examination and get 2 weeks of laser treatments for free. Call IHRS at 904-777-IHRS. That's 904-777-4477. Hairforme.com.
I'm Pauline Savigny, president and owner of Grace Aerospace and an Athena PowerLink graduate with the Jacksonville Women's Business Center. Being a member of the Jax Chamber and JWBC has provided me with many great new relationships among women entrepreneurs. JWBC furthers my confidence by providing education and a strong group of women business leaders to connect with, learn from, and lean on. Learn how to get involved and expand your network by visiting jaxwbc.com.
Hi, I'm Elton John. In 1981, the first case of AIDS was diagnosed in the United States. More than 40 years later, we have the tools and medicine to beat AIDS. My foundation is bringing HIV testing and care to underserved and vulnerable communities. If you share my vision of a world where everyone is treated with love, respect, and dignity, join me. Learn more about the Rocket Fund at eltonjohnaidsfoundation.org. Follow us at EJAF on Instagram. Thank you.
Attention all pickleballers, get ready to drink in the first ever Smoothie King Crown Cup on April 27th. Flex your skills and raise funds to benefit the Mal Washington Youth Foundation. Visit malwashington.com for details and registration.
This weekend.
Live from the Anajar and Levine Studios. Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690. Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. This just in, the Jets trading former second overall pick, quarterback Zach Wilson, and a 7th-round pick to the Broncos for a 6th-rounder. New York expected to pay some of his salary in 2024. 76ers center Joel Embiid remains questionable for Game 2 tonight in the first-round NBA playoff series against the Knicks. Embiid appeared to injure his surgically repaired left knee on a dunk in the Game 1 loss. It will be difficult for Philly to tie up the series at a game apiece tonight, in the opinion of ESPN NBA analyst Kendrick Perkins.
Joel Embiid is not healthy. No, right? He don't have lip. That was the first dunk
that he had since returning from injury, and we saw what happened. He's going to favor it. It's going to be a mental thing. I see the Knicks coming out and doing what they're supposed to do, led by Big Body Brunson, and winning this game tonight in great fashion.
Sixers point guard Tyrese Maxey questionable due to illness. Game 2, 7 Eastern on ESPN Radio. Stanley Cup playoffs opening round. Maple Leafs forward William Nylander, undisclosed injury. A game-time decision. Game 2 tonight in Boston, 7 Eastern on ESPN. Toronto down 1-0.
Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. That's Barbasol Shaving Cream, an American classic for over 100 years. Close Shave America. Close Shave Barbasol.
Who is this guy? Aaron Shafting? What is it? Oh, Schachter? Schachter. Okay. Shack Attack. Schachter. He gets shacked. But I digress. Here we go.
You ready? Yeah. Turn off your radio.
The Aaron Schachter Show on ESPN 690.
Welcome in. It's the Aaron Schachter Show. A Monday edition on an actual Monday. How about that? Did you know it's Monday, Justin?
I did know it was Monday.
You know, I'm obligated as a radio personality to tell you the day of the week and the time multiple times an hour.
Yeah, in case you had forgotten that it was that day and time.
And it is 3:02, 2 minutes past 3 o'clock, 58 minutes until 4 o'clock, just in case you're wondering.
I'm honestly impressed with that.
21 years in the business, I learned something.
Okay.
I also learned the phone number here is 904-362-9901 if you want to jump in. Couple of things to discuss today, my friends. But first, before we do anything else, I would like to start off with a little bit of breaking news. Little bit of breaking news. Ladies and gentlemen, I realize we talk a lot of Jags here. We are in Duval. I get it. But just indulge me for a second. Because I happen to be a fan of one of the most pathetic franchises in the NFL, in the New York Jets. And today, oh boy, did the Jets fleece the Broncos right before we got on the air. Was this highway robbery. Ladies and gentlemen, the Zach Wilson era in New York has come to an end. Are you shocked?
No.
No? Not shocked, huh? Okay, fair enough. Zach Wilson's been traded to the Denver Broncos. Sean Payton feeling somewhat charitable today. Broncos giving up their highest-ranked sixth-round pick. The Jets giving up Zach Wilson and their highest-ranked seventh-round pick. So they're sending pick 256 to Denver, as well as Wilson to, I guess, carry the luggage for whoever they pick at 256. And then the Jets, in return, get a sixth-rounder at 203 in the trade.
Is this going to be one of those trades that we do a recap, like once the draft pick has happened?
We'll go back and check the value.
And say,
really?
Where did the value end up here?
I would much rather play like through the years in the background and then just have highlights of all the times Zach Wilson made me cry.
So he's not getting like a tribute when he comes through Jersey or New York.
Someone actually made a really interesting point. Talk about Denver playing chess, not checkers. It's entirely possible that Zach Wilson playing football wasn't the main motive for the trade. It's entirely possible they're looking at their jersey inventory going, we locked in Russell Wilson to this big 5-6 year deal, and we have all these jerseys. We got to do something with them. And so maybe the Broncos, if they were smart, would force Zach Wilson, into the number 3 that Danger Russ wore in Denver. And now you don't got to reprint any jerseys.
And then all you have to do is get him to get into a microphone and go, Broncos country, let's ride. We're good.
That might help too. But there it is, folks. One of the biggest trades to go down this offseason. Zach Wilson and a 7th going to the Broncos for a 6th in what may turn this draft upside down. Or not. Or not. It may have nothing to do with what else happens in this draft, and you'll never hear about this guy or these players ever again. No lose situation for Denver. I mean, why not? You take the number 2 overall pick, and you go, if he's never anything ever again, it's all right. We threw a 7 to go get him, or 6. We threw pick 203 to go get him. But if it works out, I mean, right now that Denver quarterback room is not looking great.
But does Wilson help that? Where's the
No,
confidence
he's
level
kind
with
of
him?
actually the same guy that the rest of the quarterback room is at this point. It's interesting. They really don't have a number one yet. They have a collection of 2s and 3s, it looks like.
A quarterback controversy, if you will.
You have Jared Stidham, who I think was the 2 or the 3 maybe in Las Vegas for a little bit. I forget where he was last year, if not Vegas. But then Ben DiNucci. And no, you don't know that name. DiNucci actually, the last time he played was 3 games in 2020 for the Dallas Cowboys.
Okay.
So solid name. He could be on the all-Tommy Cutlets team. It almost sounds like you're saying Ben the Nucci.
Yeah.
But he's not. He's DiNucci. A little of the Tommy Cutlets action.
DiNucci, yeah.
But between him, Stidham, and Zach Wilson, I mean, the tank is on for who in Denver?
I guess that's the cloud.
Remains to be seen.
What is the what's the over-under on wins for next year at this point?
If they do nothing else, I believe it's at -3. But, the draft is coming up at the end of the week, and the Broncos are one of these teams rumored to be on the move in the draft. And so they could end up trading up for a J.J. McCarthy or maybe even someone more high profile, or sticking in that position. I believe they're the 12th pick right now. You could stick in that position and grab a Bo Nix. You could grab a Michael Penix Jr., theoretically thinking both would still be there, even though I've seen reports over the weekend that Michael Penix Jr. may go as high as top 10. I find that extremely hard to believe, but so be it. It's draft week. You're going to hear a lot of weird reports. But, man, the Broncos definitely need to get something done. They need to get something done. And I guess they'll be getting something done between now and the end of the week. I would hope. If I'm a Broncos fan, I mean, I've got zero hope in what they've got in the locker room right now in that quarterback room. I'm hoping they make some kind of big-time move.
You think they're hoping? You think that wide receiver group is like, get us somebody that can throw us the ball reliably?
It's funny you say that because they did get rid of Jerry Jeudy, and the rumor was that Courtland Sutton is mad. He's not showing up to off-season voluntary activities. The report was that he's mad about his contract. I believe Courtland Sutton, 29 years old, looking for a big payday at this point. But it could just be because he doesn't feel like there are weapons there, and he's not willing to put his body on the line for a team that's going to win 3 games again.
Do you think they released the jersey throwback colors the Broncos did to try to distract from?
Ask me 2 years ago, I'd be like, no, what you're saying is nonsense. But now, these days, I'm all in on, I actually do think that that's part of it.
Yeah.
Because these jersey reveals and what Justin is referring to is essentially the Broncos have released not only their throwbacks, their alternates, and the jersey updates for the season. They get a lot of attention, and it's almost always positive attention. Even the bad ones get positive attention from the fan base. And so, maybe this is the day they do it because they see something coming. But the reality is they're making a trade. They're adding someone. So I'm not sure how offsetting this needs to be. Like maybe on the day that Courtland Sutton demands a trade or they actually end up getting rid of him, maybe then you throw out the jersey stuff.
Yeah.
But to your point, I don't think teams are above that at all. I don't think they're above that at all. I think they keep a few good news nuggets locked and loaded for rainy days. And if they can find a way to use it before they need to, then they go ahead and do so.
They keep the PR team on speed dial. Hey, we got a problem. Release the Midnight Navy.
You have any evergreen for us? Yeah, we need some help.
Oh yeah, we want to throw it back to the 1977 jerseys.
Yeah.
Just put out that picture. We did a photo shoot with one of them.
Exactly. We just had a linebacker get a DUI. Is Elway busy today? Can we march him out to Town Square for something? But that's what's going down in Denver and New York right now. Zach Wilson and a 7th traded from the Jets to the Broncos. In return, the Jets receive a 6th round pick. It's basically a pick swap. A 7th for a 6th. And, of course, Zach Wilson is there to do the paperwork as well. So congrats to Zach Wilson on a storied career in New York. But it does actually bring me to the next point I want to make about the 2024 draft. Because I'm not sure if you remember back to 2021, Justin, it was a wild world. Wild world coming off of a COVID football season in 2020 where you had a bunch of players opt out and then a few eligibility issues, limited tape, limited opponents, especially in the case of Zach Wilson. you had what was considered one of the stronger quarterback drafts in recent history, if not ever, at the time.
I remember, yes.
Trevor Lawrence,
yes.
Zach Wilson, Justin Fields, Trey Lance, Mac Jones, all of it.
Yep.
All first rounders, or at least all with first round grades, I should say, by the scouts.
Mm-hmm.
But what has ended up happening since then? You got Justin Fields traded for a 6th, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Mac Jones traded for a 6th, I believe. Trey Lance, I don't have the deal in front of me. Maybe I should have done that, but I believe it was a late round pick as well. Zach Wilson traded for a late round pick. And the final domino is Trevor Lawrence. Now, granted, last week we were sitting here talking about Trevor Lawrence contract extension possibly before the 24 season, possibly in the $50 million range. But it does not speak well for the scouting being done in that COVID year for the quarterbacks in that draft to a man, 2 through 5, to be just not living up to the hype.
Well, I feel like I've talked about this before, but I always feel like there should be some accountability that reporters have to go back and like.
Reporters? What about the team scouts?
That's why. Well, they probably get fired, so that's the
that's the accountability.
The accountability, but like, how many people hype up, a team, a player, or anything, and we talk about hand size and whatever. And next thing you know, these guys aren't coming through it. It's like, at some point you got to go back and be like, look, I said all this, I was wrong, and I'm going to take that into account for the next draft or the next season.
That being said, I do think there are guys every year who are out there looking at both sides of the ball, and not literally. I'm talking figuratively. Yeah, sure. Caleb Williams scouted to be one of the best prospects we've seen in a very long time. A very long time, compared to a whole ton of different players who have been successful and are leading either Hall of Fame careers or already in the Hall of Fame. That being said, you don't know till he gets on the football field. And so you've had a couple of guys out there who have been upfront with how they feel about it. We heard from Merrill Hodge last week, 2 weeks ago. He didn't believe Caleb Williams should be drafted by the Bears at the number 1 pick. He wanted them to stick with Fields, and he didn't think Caleb Williams being set up for success by the Chicago Bears. Well, enter Ryan Leaf, who did an interview with Rich Eisen. Shout out to Rich Eisen. Great show. But Ryan Leaf talking about why he doesn't think Caleb Williams will be set up for success in Chicago.
But I just don't think he can be the starting quarterback for the Chicago Bears this year. No, I think he has to sit a year. I think what he has done in college doesn't necessarily translate very well to the NFL right away. He spent a lot of his time vacating the pocket out the back. And it's the worst possible scenario for him because simply they're a playoff team. They were a playoff team last year. If that Browns game and that Broncos game go differently, or if Justin Fields isn't hurt through the middle of the year, I think, where they were playing so well, they're a playoff team. So they're a playoff team this year. If they don't make the playoffs, or if they stumble early, or they're in a place, I don't care if it's a rookie quarterback. Matt Eberflus is gone. So now you're talking about a rookie quarterback now and a new head coach again, with a new offense again. You've just set him up for absolute failure. If you're going to go this way, Ryan Poles, if you were going to go this way, you should have sent Eberflus out the door. Got the new coach in place with an offensive coordinator, with a quarterback, and you knew that you had some time, because that will just evaporate if they're not a playoff team this year. I believe that's going to be the case.
So while I don't think Caleb Williams, I'm not 100% on board with Ryan Leaf in this, that I don't think Caleb Williams is set up for failure with the Bears. I think they've given him a lot of tools. I do think he's making a good point here, and that's if the Bears stumble either out of the blocks during the season or they just end up not making the playoffs. I think you got this issue where you end up blowing out Eberflus. I think the only reason they didn't do it last year is because the Bears' defense looked pretty good, and that's really what Eberflus was responsible for. And so you bring in a new offensive coordinator to work solely with Caleb Williams, and you go, okay, the OC is going to work on offense, and the head coach will focus on defense. It happens with a lot of teams out there, some successfully, some not as much. And you just hope Eberflus has his hands off it. But the reality is, if it doesn't work, if you mortgage the future, if you traded away Justin Fields and it looks anything close to what it looked like or better in Pittsburgh, and then you look at Caleb and he stumbles out of the blocks, I'm with Ryan Leaf on this one. I don't think it ends well for Eberflus. And now you're talking about a Trevor Lawrence situation where you have multiple head coaches or coordinators in your first 2 years, and it kind of stunts the growth a little bit.
Yeah, and I feel like you see that a lot. I mean, you go back and you talk about these guys that are being traded, and you wonder how much is the coach to blame? Because a lot of times, like with Wilson, and I know that's the Jets, that's a whole different situation, but
but you're right. He had three offensive coordinators in his first 4 years. Mac Jones, 2 offensive coordinators, and then he had a defensive coordinator as an offensive coordinator. It was wild, wild stuff in New England.
Mm-hmm.
Justin Fields had 2 offensive coordinators in Pittsburgh.
Yeah.
Like a lot of voices.
And a lot of probably different opinions or saying the same thing in a different way that as a young quarterback and young player in general trying to understand the game at the same time, it can be a little confusing.
I don't know. You tell me, if you got an offensive coordinator who gets fired and the next guy in is saying the same stuff, don't you feel like they made a bad hire?
Yeah, and you might not feel like you have the leverage to voice that opinion yet.
I'm with you. Yeah. Ryan Leaf continues.
I just am fearful for him because I think that he's an incredibly talented football player, and I just think he needs some time.
He's going out on the limb, calling Caleb Williams talented.
At the NFL level, and I'm worried that if he's going to have so much, I feel like the bar is going to be set so high for him that there's no way he can ever clear it, and that disappoints me, and it makes it unfortunate. It is what it is. Quarterbacks are going to go high, but they're the ones that have to wear what. If things go bad, he's going to have to wear it, not the team, not the organization for drafting somebody maybe before he should have or played him before he should have. So.
That's a little bit of the accountability you're talking about, by the way, where, scouts maybe get held accountable and they end up losing their gig. But do the GMs and head coaches on the draft picks, like Joe Douglas isn't losing his gig on Zach Wilson. All right, Robert Saleh didn't even pick the kid, so he's not losing his gig on him. But it certainly hurt his career on the way, where now those guys are playing for the gig this year, and you could lay that at Wilson's feet. I don't know that Mac Jones had a hand in ushering the end of the Bill Belichick era, but it certainly doesn't help when your team's not winning. Same can be said for the Bears. The Bears ended up going to get a new general manager after they took Fields. I believe Eberflus is Fields' second coach. I know he had at least 2 offensive coordinators. They blew Luke Getsy right out of there. So to the accountability point, you may have it right there.
Before he should have. So I think it's the negative tone of it, but I'm more worried about the individuals and how they, simply because of, and probably because I'm too close to it, because it happened to me.
And it did happen to Ryan Leaf, where he gets picked second in the draft. He goes to, I believe, the Chargers, and boy, does it not work out for him in that first year, and he never recovers. Never recovers. And the NFL is littered with stories like these.
I feel like it's a situation where, like, if you're a new actor, you come out and you take this role of a lifetime, and then you kind of get boxed into doing that role for the rest of your life. Yeah. And then you're just never able to break that stereotype. And then obviously in the NFL side of things, you get a situation where it can be career ending, or now you're a backup quarterback for the rest of your life, which isn't a bad gig. You still make a decent amount of cash. Honestly, probably the best gig, actually.
I'll take it, sure.
Maybe third string, so there's even less pressure.
That's cool. You choose football. You want nothing to do with getting on the field. It doesn't really sound like that's who goes to become a football player. But yeah, I mean, backup quarterback certainly isn't the worst job in the world. And depending on the team, it can actually be pretty important.
Yeah. But then, see, I don't want that. I want third string on a team where...
You want a 7-figure check for holding a clipboard.
Yeah.
You want to be the head scout team leader is what you want to be.
Right.
Yeah.
I don't want to touch the field at all.
And this is why you're not an athlete.
No, not at all.
You know who else isn't an athlete?
Oh.
South Beach Gary's not an athlete, and he knows it. But he is waiting on the phone, so let's give him a little how do you do to King South Beach. Welcome to the Aaron Schachter Show, buddy.
Well, I'll show you some athleticism. Just let me face you face to face.
Oh, cool. You're going to show me how to run away.
What's your 40?
His 40 is 17 minutes, Justin. Thank you for asking.
My 40 is 4.3, okay?
Oh.
4 hours and 3 minutes, yes. What's up, Gary? What are you hearing? What's the latest? What's the latest your intel has on the draft?
Diarrhea of the mouth and constipation of the brain. Aaron Schachter.
Happy day, Gary. Glad to hear from you again.
Very excited, very excited. We got a number one pick. I'm hearing all kinds of things. They love Willie, the kid out of Texas. I'm thinking the Dolphins move down to the first round, get an extra pick, and then they move up at the end of the first round.
Oh.
And get Worthy. Get Sanders out of Texas as the tight end in the second round. Maybe an all-Texas draft. Very excited. Very excited. You know the Dolphins love team speed. That's their identity, is team speed. You add Worley to Waddle, and that offense is just unstoppable. Deron Achane and Mercer at the running back, unstoppable offense.
I mean, they were pretty stoppable at the end of last year when they got tossed from the playoffs by the Chiefs. But I will say, Gary, that
30-degree below weather, right? Yeah.
I will say they looked great. They were a fast team in the regular season. You're not wrong about the team identity.
Injuries, though.
Injuries did play a part, but with any NFL team, they do. The problem, Justin, to your point, is that when you're a team that relies on speed, all those leg injuries really do end up piling up a little bit. But Gary, I think you need to.
I don't need you to tell me I'm not wrong.
Okay.
I know I'm not wrong. I'm rarely wrong. Okay?
My fault.
That's why I'm the premier caller. Okay?
That's right. And you're also one of the only callers, by the way. It's nothing to really be excited about. But that's fine. Hey, look, you're right. I shouldn't tell you when you're right. You're right. That's fine.
But that's what I'm predicting. They move down a little bit, get an extra. Either an extra second or an extra third because they don't have a lot of middle picks. Then they move back. So I'm looking offensive line, wide receiver in the first couple picks, or offensive line, tight end. That's my prediction from His Majesty, okay?
Okay. I like where you're going with it. Basically,
Gary. And I gave you who the Jags are going with already, all in reverse. So you got it all written down. So when you come in on Friday, you said the brains of one Dolphin South weekend shows through yet again.
I appreciate the call, Gary. It's a good report, good insight. Basically, Gary wants an all-Texas draft. He wants the Dolphins to trade up into the first round, but then also get premier picks in the second and third rounds as well. So I guess it's not going to cost the Dolphins anything to trade back up in the first round. He's looking for wide receiver. He's looking for offensive line, and he's looking for cornerback.
I'm going to do some research and find the one pick that would enrage Dolphin fans. Like, if that's the pick that they go with, who is that pick?
Seems like an odd thing to spend your time researching.
Well, no, because I'm gonna throw it at Gary tomorrow.
You do you, man. I'm not going to stop you. Look, if you want to frustrate South Beach Gary, I'm never going to stand in your way, man. You go ahead and get it done.
It already sounds like he's frustrated.
I'll tell you who's frustrated is that phone receiver has been being yelled at now for years.
Yeah.
This poor thing has been abused by young South Beach for too long.
You would think as a premier caller, you would send him like a microphone or yeah.
Have you seen the show Budget?
That's what I'm saying. Spend it all on sending Gary.
It's linked to my crypto account. Which ain't doing too hot
up right now. Oh,
well,
okay.
A little bit. It's just not overall doing too hot.
Okay.
It's lost a little bit of value over the last couple of months, Justin. The halving is happening, though. If you've got Bitcoin, you're probably very attuned to what's been going on. A little volatility in the market. We'll see how it all straightens out towards the end. But the fees are supposed to be less. Then I tried to do a transaction today, and it was like, oh, buddy, you have to pay a little extra on that bad boy.
You want to send $50, it's a $500 bill.
Exactly. Like, what is this? What kind of economics is this? All right, lots to go through on the show today. We talked a little bit about some of the draft news. I did neglect to mention, just because it was a couple of days ago, we just hadn't said it on the show yet. The Jaguars did re-sign Tyler Shatley, offensive lineman. If you don't remember him from, I don't know, the past 11 years. He's a longtime Jaguars veteran, and I believe will back up right guard. So Brandon Sheriff, obviously, his understudy. And now you're talking about a Jaguars offensive line that looks somewhat familiar, but is kind of locked in at this point as long as Cam Robinson remains on the team until the start of next season. Cam Robinson at left tackle, Ezra Cleveland at left guard, Mitch Morse center, Brandon Sheriff right tackle, and Anton Harrison at right tackle, right guard for Brandon Sheriff, right tackle for Anton Harrison. It's the backups that we continue to do a little dance with. You got Walker Little backing up Cam on the left side, Chandler Brewer officially on the depth chart behind Ezra Cleveland. Luke Fortner, who maybe you weren't happy with Luke as a starter on this team, but it's certainly nice to have a 2-year starter as your backup, a guy with a lot of experience who can help out the practice team as well, or the scout team as the week-long practice goes through the regular season. Shatley now behind Brandon Sheriff at right guard, another veteran talent there on the roster. And then Cooper Hodges, as of today, behind Anton Harrison. So the offensive line continues to take shape. I believe it will continue to do so through the draft. You should expect at least another guard or a tackle being taken by the Jacksonville Jaguars. We'll be talking to John Shipley a little bit later on the show. He will be letting us know what his thoughts are on the draft, if they could be going offensive line or other skill positions as well as reports from other folks. We'll also talk a little NBA when we get back. Big weekend for the playoffs. Justin Cousart has the latest updates that we can discuss together. But also, Justin, The Athletic has their anonymous player survey out. Always love these. They ask the players, hey, if we don't tell anyone your name, tell us who the biggest trash talker is. Tell us who the MVP should be. Tell us who the most overrated guy is. I want to see if you are on the same page with some of the best players in the world when it comes to who's who in the NBA. It's the Aaron Schachter Show. You can give us a call, 904-362-9901, 904-362-9901. Back in a second on ESPN 690.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Cloudy, breezy, and cooler on this Monday with an isolated coastal shower. I think we see some sunshine later this afternoon, but our daytime highs will only be in the upper 60s and low 70s. Then it gets cool tonight. Our overnight lows will be dropping into the low 50s. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Corey Sima.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamond. April means it's buy one, get one on wedding bands, only at Beard's Diamonds.
Get relief with a needle, not a knife. No surgery, steroids, drugs. You don't need that. You just need QC Kinetics. The future of medicine is here with QC Kinetics, the nation's leader in the most exciting revolution in pain management we've seen in decades. Regenerative medicine. If you're tired of achy joints, if your joint pain is keeping you from doing what you love, especially as the weather gets better and better here in Northeast Florida, you need to call QC Kinetics now, 904-274-5522, and get a free consultation with QC Kinetics. Regenerative medicine at QC Kinetics is transforming lives with innovative treatments that deliver lasting results. We're talking natural biologics, using your body's own power to repair and restore damaged tissue. QC Kinetics is under the leadership of National Medical Director Dr. Mitchell Scheinkupp. Dr. Scheinkupp is a pioneer in this field with 20 years of clinical work, tons of research, teaching, publishing. He wants to get you relief now. Call QC Kinetics, 904-274-5522.
Have you seen your financial freedom wiped out by stock market volatility? It's Rich Jones. Consider investing in real estate funds from DLP Capital. Don Wenner is CEO and founder.
DLP Capital has provided our investors with consistent double-digit returns by investing in cash-flowing residential real estate. For more than a decade, we have had zero losses, little volatility, and have shot above our return targets in all of our investment funds. Plus, we offer monthly distributions and tax shelter opportunities.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial **invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Bueller Air Conditioning presents Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, a corporate management manager from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Les Blankston.
Hi, Bob.
That is a remarkably beige suit there, Les. Tell us, why are you on the show?
Well, I just replaced my old air conditioner with a new one from Bueller, and I'm just so comfortable these days. I wondered, am I cool now?
Let's find out, Les. Go ahead and spin the wheel.
That's right, Les. By upgrading your old AC to a more energy-efficient model from Bueller Air Conditioning, you'll save money, save energy, and proudly show your family that you are cool.
Ooh, do you think I should get a mohawk?
Pace yourself, Les.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Do you know a child who is deaf, hard of hearing, blind, or visually impaired? The Florida School for the Deaf and Blind in St. Augustine is a fully accredited, tuition-free state public school that gives children an edge for a lifetime of success. FSDB is nationally recognized for its educational services designed for students' unique communication and accessibility needs. Eligible pre-K and kindergarten through 12th grade students benefit from small class sizes, advanced technology, and various recreation, extracurricular, and performing arts activities. Transportation and boarding services are free to any eligible deaf or blind student, kindergarten through high school, no matter where the student lives in Florida. My name is Trent Ferguson, and I'm a proud graduate of this wonderful school. This place changes lives. To learn more information or to apply for enrollment, call 800-344-3737 or log on to www.fsdbk12.org.
Imagine your team always looking and feeling their best in high-performance technical workwear. Cintas can make it happen. They have garments for almost every job imaginable. And with the Cintas Workwear program, you get freshly laundered garments delivered every week for everyone on your team. Great garments without the bother of laundry. That's a real perk for employees. Find out how Cintas can boost team image and morale. Visit Cintas.com.
Oh, I'm ready!
And get ready for the workday.
Find what you love, love what you find. A Total Wine and More. There's so much waiting for you. Spirits and beer, thousands of wines.
Drink responsibly, B21.
Brought to you by Navage. Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Hey guys, we're the Twin Peaks Girls. Come have lunch with us every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and listen to the Young and Norvell Show on ESPN 690.
Welcome back to the Aaron Schachter Show, 904-362-9901. 904-362-9901. Hey, Justin, before we move on to the NBA, there was one more piece of Jaguars draft intel that came out recently. It's Albert Breer's draft mailbag, very respected insider of the NFL, working over at Sports Illustrated, writing his draft mailbag. Here's what he says we need to know as Jaguars fans going into the draft.
Okay.
He says the Jaguars are busy exploring moving up.
And what does that tell you then? Wide receiver?
Well, it tells me maybe Albert Breer hasn't watched Trent Baalke draft before. But that doesn't mean the work isn't being done.
Sure.
So for those of you excited about draft night activity, this might be it for you. The Jaguars are exploring moving up, and they've done a lot of work on the top receivers in the draft, talking MJH, talking Neighbors, and talking Adunze. All right, they lost Calvin Ridley. Even with Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis being paid, Breer says it makes that spot still a priority as far as what he's hearing.
Well, that feels like that would, like, if the Jags do that, I feel like fans are happy, right? A big name wide receiver makes fans.
I think anytime a team trades up, regardless of whether it's a smart move or not, I think fans get happy.
But if it's, I guess my point is it would be less exciting if they traded, moved up, and then got like an offensive lineman.
I don't see that happen.
It's not as flashy, I guess, as
specifically in this draft, just because it's a strong offensive lineman draft. Like, you can legit trade back and still get a good one.
Okay.
That being said, what's important here in Breer's mailbag paragraph that continues, failing that, corner, if either Terrion Arnold from Alabama, Quinion Mitchell from Toledo are available here, it shapes up as a possibility too. So to me, it sounds like what Breer believes, based on his inside info and research, is that the Jags are going wide receiver, then corner, as far as their draft board. Now, he also says another could be a disruptive defensive tackle, which is not one of the higher mocked picks for the Jags, although I have seen a few mocked to the Jags, especially if Byron Murphy falls to that 17 spot. Some people now mocking him in the top 10, which is wild to me. But obviously, new defensive coordinator Ryan Nielsen's scheme requires a lot of pressure up front, a lot of speed, a lot of effort, a lot of push. You can certainly do that with a brand new defensive tackle. Jerzon Newton, another name that's sometimes being tied to the Jaguars as well as a defensive tackle. But he is coming off an injury, I think, a foot fracture. So I'm not sure if the Jaguars will be as high on him. But pick number 17, they have 8 total picks in the draft. But once again, Albert Breer thinking wide receiver, a much bigger priority for the boys than cornerback or offensive line or defensive tackle. Interesting.
8 seems like a lot of picks, right?
Sure. I mean, last year they had 13.
But even that felt like a lot of picks.
It didn't feel. It certainly was a lot of picks. It was a lot of picks. So much so that I think everybody, including Trent Baalke, thought they were going to trade off of some of those.
Why not, to trade, you need another team to be down.
I
get
dance
that.
partner. Yeah. So it didn't work out for them. There are a lot of teams with a lot of capital in this draft. Some teams with not a lot of capital. If you believe all the rumors and reports, you're going to see a lot of movement, a lot of trades. I'm not fully bought in yet. Not fully bought. I think you hear that every time. And then the trade starts going, then the draft starts going chalk. And you're like, oh, this is what everyone predicted 6 months ago. This is the same mock draft I saw back at the end of the football season. So it's not as exciting, I think, because
you didn't have enough time to talk yourself into somebody else because of their hand size.
Yeah, exactly.
Like
But you get all jacked up with all the rumors.
Yeah.
And then reality settles in. You're like, oh, this is a business.
Yeah.
They want to be safe with their billion-dollar team. I get it. I get it.
Mm-hmm.
Speaking of billion-dollar teams, let's talk a little bit of the association. A couple of playoff games over the weekend. Really, almost all the playoff games over the weekend. You've got at least one game played, or really, you've got one game played in every single game in the brackets.
Mm-hmm.
So over the weekend, we can start with the team closest to home, the Magic and the Cavs, 4-seed Cavs versus 5-seed Magic. Cleveland ends up winning the game. I remember talking to you before the playoffs started about the Magic. I thought they were really one of the only teams in the East who could be healthy enough for a big run.
Yeah, the Orlando Magic, the problem and the worry I had was that they were too young for the moment. And I think we saw a little bit of that.
You think so?
They shot 32% from the floor.
Pretty bad from the floor.
It was
and not just
great.
from the floor, from the perimeter, too. It was not great.
And so what's interesting about that is a stat I was talking to our friend Chase down the hall here was Orlando was and is one of the best scoring teams in the paint. The Cavs are one of the best defensive teams in the paint. The Orlando Magic are really bad percentage-wise outside. And so I was like, the Magic as a team play into exactly what the Cavs want in terms of how they're going to approach you. So they're just going to make you and force you to shoot threes and long-range twos, and that's not Orlando's game. And
they're also going to send them to the line if the Magic goes into the low post, and the Magic were 19 of 30 from the free throw line, which doesn't help with the playoffs either.
Nope, and you got Cole. Again, I think that's a little bit of the playoff yips, like you get a little tense. I saw a lot of teams doing that. Sixers is another one that I saw doing that. But yeah, I kind of hope the Orlando Magic can kind of take a breath, play their game. They just got a lot of young guys, and I'm worried that the playoff moment gets to them.
Do you need Banchero to have a great series?
Yes.
Because it's certainly not the way it started out for him.
No, but again, so young, and I think Donovan Mitchell has the experience. He's been there before. It's just you got a team that knows what they're doing, who is still young in the Cavs, but Orlando doesn't have this experience, and that's what worried me. Plus, you play right into the comfort level defensively of the Cavs, and so I'm worried Orlando's not going to be able to do it. I think if they lose this next game, it's a bad look. We're in the danger zone at that point. You go down 0-2. You never want to do that, but especially as a young team, because then you're going to start getting oh my God, we need to. The hero ball comes out in game 3, and you're forcing it even more, and that's just not going to work.
It's not great.
Yeah.
Over in the West, the Wolves and the Suns.
I told you.
3-seed versus the 6-seed.
I told you.
Well, we both agreed on this one.
Yeah.
We both pretty much said the Suns are one of these teams with great, talented players and no leader.
I was saying this, that on paper, they have significantly more star power. But
significantly.
This playoff series, and it happened, anybody that watches the NBA is going to be like, you're crazy for saying this. Or Anthony Edwards on the Timberwolves, this is his year, his coming out party. Even more in this playoffs, you got him talking trash to KD, and you'll get him doing it more down the line when the Timberwolves beat the Suns. And dude, I really think this is the Timberwolves' year to make it to the finals, though the Nuggets will probably have something to say about that.
What's interesting is that the Wolves are known for another team that plays hard in the post.
Hey, you got huge guys down there.
They've got bigs. They've got a 4-time Defensive Player of the Year, Rudy Gobert. They've got a great defense, but it was the perimeter defense also in this game against the Suns team that could shoot the lights out when they're on. But it really held him in check. I think Devin Booker, when Jayden McDaniels was on him as the primary defender, Booker was 1 of 7.
Mm-hmm.
I mean, tight defense. And not from where you'd expect it down low. I think this is a done deal even before it started.
Which is so crazy to think when you have
Devin Booker, Kevin Durant,
Bradley Beal, Jacksonville's very own.
Don't forget him.
Jacksonville's very own. And
What's up, $70 million man, Grayson Allen?
Grayson, you want to, let's go hang out at the beach this summer. Drinks on you. But yeah, for real, man, I think, you got a lot of guys that are able to play hero ball, but everybody's going to want to play hero ball in the Sun, and I don't think it's going to work. It's not going to mesh well. The defense of the Wolves is going to prevail, and I really think it's the Timberwolves and Nuggets are the only two in my head that I can justify coming out of the West right now.
A little bit of the lightning round, Knicks and Sixers. Sixers near and dear to your heart, but coming in as the 7 seed. Embiid, you really just don't know what you got for this series, do you?
When he hobbled off the court after that dunk, I was like, oh no, this is it.
You and every other Sixers fan in the country.
Yeah, I think I discredited the Knicks a lot for how good they are.
Meaning you weren't buying.
No, because I feel like it was Jalen Brunson and everybody else on the team.
Well, with Julius Randle out, sure.
Yes, and it is still a little bit of that, but it's been working all year. So it's like, what are we doing? They're the 3 seed in the East. I mean,
do you feel like the Knicks take the series or no?
I am still going to say Sixers mainly because I'm a fan.
Okay.
If they lose game 2, yeah,
it's over. Yeah.
It's over. It's 100%. And Maxey might not even play tonight because he's sick, which is horrible.
Lakers and Nuggets. Lakers
Why
didn't, they didn't necessarily show up to game 1. I mean, really, when LeBron can't cook and it's all on AD's shoulders, you're not buying that anything can get done with that Lakers team.
They were winning by 12 with 6 minutes left in the second quarter.
In the second quarter.
And it was a 14-2 run. It got ugly. I don't have any faith in the Lakers to beat the defending champions.
We talked Miami last week, again, before the playoffs started in my office. You were buying Jimmy Butler and the boys, even if Butler wasn't going to be playing. You said Tyler Hero, those guys had enough.
Yes.
Are you still on the Miami train?
No, not at all. Celtics, again, like I said, the Timberwolves and Nuggets, it's pretty much the Celtics in the field in the East. I really do believe that at this point, and it kills me to say that. It's painful to say that.
Sure.
But Tatum, Brown, no, it's not. Especially if Jimmy's hurt and not playing and you don't have him for 2-3 games, whatever it ends up being. Yeah, not it.
One or two more before we hit the break, because I was interested in the Bucks-Pacers game. A lot of people thought without Giannis, the Bucks would have a really hard time with a Pacers team that plays a million miles a minute. But Dame showed up heavy in the first half.
And that's what he does in the playoffs. He knows what's up. He has to step up. Giannis a little hobbled. Dame's going to do it.
Didn't necessarily show up in the second half, but didn't need to. The Bucks end up taking that game. Are you believing? Are you buying? Or do you think this is a momentary blip for the Pacers?
This is one of those things where I think the experience pays off again for the Bucks. The Pacers are still a younger team, and Dame's been here, and he's been the ice in his veins Dame that we know. I'm going to put my money on the proven what I've seen before.
Until they prove you wrong.
Yeah.
Real quick, you got the Clippers and Mavericks. Clippers lead this 1-0. Thoughts on this game?
I actually thought this was the upset potential game. I thought the Mavericks came in hot with Kyrie.
I didn't even consider it an upset if the Mavericks were to win that game.
It was a 4-5 game with
especially with Kawhi out.
Yeah. I didn't think it was going to be a thing, but again, Clippers, they've got the stars. They've got stars too, and I've been sleeping on the Clippers since the beginning of the season. So.
And then lastly, this isn't your father's Pelicans team. Not that your father had a Pelicans team to watch, but I mean, don't let the seeding fool you. Thunder and Pels, that was a good game. It's probably the best game of round 1 thus far.
Literally tied in the first 2 quarters, like just even everything.
And no Zion Williamson in the game. It didn't matter much.
No. But that probably would have helped him a little bit.
Probably? Probably?
I'm telling you, like, the Oklahoma City Thunder, this is such a weird thing that I think of every time. They have to be the lightest combined team weight-wise. Like, they are the skinniest.
Well, half the roster doesn't have their man muscles yet.
Right.
They're still too young.
So, but OKC's the number 1 seed in the West for a reason. Like, they're a good team, so they were able to close it out. Good for them. But this is a matchup we'll hopefully see for years to come because both are so young.
And it was messy. I think the Thunder showing their age as they closed out the game. Final 12 minutes, 6 turnovers, 3 from SGA. That's not something you're supposed to see from an MVP candidate, but that's what you got.
A fun fact is Jonas Valanciunas, who's the center for the Pelicans.
Look at you go, man.
He has played in every play-in tournament since it has started for 5 years.
Wow.
And what's so weird is because the play-in tournament, stats-wise, they don't count towards regular season, and they don't count towards play-in or for playoff points. So they just kind of disappeared. It's the weirdest thing to me. Like, so I wanted to look up his combined points for all playing. It's such like a random nerd thing to want to do.
So these aren't playoff stats.
Nope.
They aren't regular
Nope.
season stats.
Nope.
That can't be a thing. It has to be a playoff stat.
If you go to Basketball Reference,
No, I'm not saying you're a liar. I'm not accusing you of lying to the giant, massive audience that listens to the Aaron Schachter show on ESPN 690, by the way. But I'm just saying, I don't think there is a sport that has stats that don't count somewhere. Yeah,
they just disappear. I think I'm almost positive the final game of the midseason tournament doesn't count towards anything too.
That's crazy.
I don't think it. Like, I forget somebody. Oh, Colby White for the Bulls dropped a 40-point play-in.
No, he didn't. Prove it.
Yeah, exactly.
Prove it.
Exactly.
Didn't have picks or it didn't happen, bro.
Exactly. It's so funny to me.
All right. Well, I want to test your knowledge of players in the association when we come back from break. The anonymous NBA player poll is out for 2024. The Athletic reporting on it. Sam Amick, Josh Robbins doing a great job. They talked to 127 players in the league, or I should say the association, not the league, the association, asking them questions like, who's going to win the MVP? And who's the best defender? And who's the biggest trash talker? And if you're building a roster from scratch, who you taking? And who's the most overrated? I want to see if you are on the same page with the rest of the NBA players. We'll do that when we come back on the Aaron Schachter Show. 904-362-9901. It's ESPN 690.
Hi, everyone. Terry Norvell here, along with Patrick Young from The Young and Norvell Show.
Our show is going great, and we are looking to grow the show with some new advertising partners.
If you're a business owner looking to market your product or service to a male, high-income, and college-educated audience, we are the show for you.
Just reach out for more information with a call or a text to 904-305-7526.
That's right. I'll get in touch with you, and we'll put together a budget-friendly marketing plan on our show exclusively for your business. Call or text me, Terry Norvell. That number again, 904-305-7526, and let's get you on our team.
I can't believe tax season is here already. Look at all this info I have to enter.
Phil's small accounting firm is growing in numbers.
Why didn't I take that typing class in high school?
A data entry specialist could really help him in a crunch.
I got blisters on my fingers.
Indeed can help him hire great people fast.
I need Indeed.
Indeed you do. You can schedule and conduct virtual interviews all from your employer dashboard. Visit Indeed.com/credit and get $75 towards your first sponsored job. Terms and conditions apply.
Individuals and businesses with tax problems, listen carefully. If you owe over $10,000 in back taxes or have unfiled tax returns, U.S. Tax Shield can help you take back control. The IRS can seize your bank accounts, garnish your paycheck, close your business, and file criminal charges. Our team of tax attorneys can stop collections and get you protected. U.S. Tax Shield offers a price protection guaranteed quote to get you protected today. U.S. Tax Shield is A+ rated with the BBB, so call 800-494-6139. U.S. Tax Shield, 800-494-6139.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With nonstop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Jacksonville, Florida. AEW is coming home to restore the feeling.
Brother, I am the feeling.
For two huge events live from Daly's Place. All Elite Wrestling presents Dynamite on Wednesday, April 24th, and delivers a Saturday fight with Collision April 27th.
Let's get down to business.
AEW Dynamite Wednesday and Collision Saturday from Daly's Place in Jacksonville. Tickets on sale now at AEWTIX.com.
Investigative journalism. It's the difference between the Action News Jack style of news and everyone else's.
I'm Ben Becker. This scam is targeting residents on the South Side.
We investigate so you're crystal clear how a story impacts you.
I'm Emily Turner. Look at the fine print because you're still getting billed.
Because our reporters don't just tell you what happened. We break down how it affects you and your neighborhood, which is why people are putting their trust in us. Action News Jacks at 5 and 6. It's local coverage you can count on.
Cashback is not available on gas in New Jersey and Wisconsin.
Billy, your gas light's on. We need to stop and fill up.
No way, Jen. Gas around here is too expensive. We can make it a little further.
Billy, listen to your big sister. You don't need to drive all over searching for the lowest gas prices. Do what I do and use Upside.
Upside?
Do you live under a rock, Billy? Upside is the hottest cash back app out there. It's free to download, and you get real cash back for every gallon of gas you buy. I use it all the time, and I've already made around $200.
You can make that kind of cash back just for buying the gas you have to buy anyway?
Yes, I'm looking at the Upside app now, and there's a gas station at the next exit offering 25 cents per gallon cash back.
Okay, I'm stopping to download Upside and fill up my tank. Download the free Upside app now to earn cash back every time you buy gas. Use promo code MATCH to get an extra 25 cents per gallon on your first tank. You can cash out anytime right to your bank, to PayPal, or a gift card for Amazon and other brands. Just download the free Upside app and use promo code MATCH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus on your first tank. That's code MATCH for a 25 cents per gallon bonus.
Hey, this is Carly, and a little thing I love about the Chick-fil-A Chicken Minis is the combination of flavors. The first thing I always taste is the honey butter. It gets me going in the morning. The Chicken Minis are phenomenal. The roll is soft, and the chicken is crispy. I never had chicken for breakfast before, but they were so good. I told my mom and sister about them, and now they're a family thing. It's the perfect breakfast bite.
Breakfast starts with Chicken Minis and Simply Orange Juice on the Chick-fil-A app. Real customer paid for their testimonial.
As a roofer, spring means the start of my busy season, which means I've got to get organized. With help from Beacon, I can save time with Beacon Pro Plus and 24/7 access to live pricing, delivery tracking, order history, and more. Plus, this spring, I can earn $1,000 and the chance to win a $25,000 backyard renovation just by buying my CertainTeed shingles online with Beacon. No purchase necessary. Now that's what I call a spring cleanup. Visit BECN.com for official rules and to start earning entries.
Hey guys, we're the Twin Peaks Girls. We just love guys that listen to the Young and Norvell Show. Weekdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Welcome back to the Aaron Schachter Show, 904-362-9901, talking NBA with Justin Cousart. The Athletics out with their anonymous player poll. They asked 127 players, Justin, and they asked them questions where they're like, look, you don't got to give your name. Just tell us what we want to know here. Some of these answers are interesting, but we start off with the vanilla. Who do you think the players will cast a vote for as the MVP of the league?
I'm going to say Luka Doncic.
Luka Doncic comes in third.
Wow, he's got most points in the season.
Comes in third, 9.9% SGA at number 2. Which I would agree with. I think that's how it's going to end at the end of the season. Jokic, number 1 at 41.8%. I believe it'll end this way.
That's fair.
As well. How about the best defender in the league? Last year was Drew Holiday. Who do you think the players voted for this year?
I bet they go Gobert. He's like the defensive guy.
He is, and he's a 4-time winner of the NBA Defensive Player of the Year. Nowhere on the list.
Wow.
Not even listed. And I think last year, if he was listed, it was way at the bottom. I think he's just hated by his colleagues in the NBA.
Holiday then? Again?
Holiday at number 2, 12.9%. Lou Dort, number 3 at 9.8%. Victor Wembanyama, number 1 at 15.2%.
Must be nice.
It's not just the tall, but he is a blocking machine, 3.5 blocks a game.
Must be nice.
Basically can block 3-point shots from the top of the free throw line. Man's amazing.
By the way, just because I have this stat up, he has 254 blocks on the season. The second closest would be Chet Holmgren, who is also new.
Who's also 17 feet tall.
190 blocks. So
not even close.
So he's like 50 more blocks
not
than the
even
rest
close.
of the league. Actually, 64.
League's most overrated player. What do you think the players said?
Ooh, I'm going to go Kyrie. I feel like they really don't like Kyrie at
Kyrie
times.
Irving, not only is not on this list, but they have to like him. They made him the player rep for the Union a couple of years ago.
That's fair.
Gobert is where you find at the top.
Oh, they really do hate Gobert.
13.6, hated guy. League's most underrated player. You got Drew Holiday in third, Jalen Williams in second.
Let's go with Tyrese Maxey.
Tyrese Maxey does make the list with 1.6%, tied for last. Derek White is the answer here. 10.3% for Derek White. Now we start to get into some of the more fun questions. Okay. Who in the league would you least like to fight?
That's got to be like, what's his? Probably someone, a center. I'm going to go with Steve Adams.
Steve Adams, number 2, 16.8%.
He used to be in the mob in New Zealand or something like that.
He's a filthy dude.
Yeah.
James Johnson comes in at number 1, 53.6%.
Okay.
Your boy Draymond comes in at 4%, a little lower down the list, tied with Joel Embiid.
Okay.
He doesn't seem like a fighter at all.
Nah, he's mean. He can be mean.
Greatest player of all time.
MJ.
MJ, LeBron, Kobe are your top three.
Okay.
MJ squeaks it out, 45.9. LeBron at 42.1. Kobe nowhere close. They asked about arenas. We could skip those questions. What coach, aside from your own, would you least want to play for?
Oh, so you can't put your own coach.
Can't put your own.
To me, I'm saying Doc Rivers.
Doc Rivers, number 2 with 9.1%. Monty Williams, number 3 at 6.5%. Tom Thibodeau at 46.8%. If you ask Tom Thibodeau's mom, she doesn't want to play for this dude.
Because he's going to play her 40 minutes a game.
That's how you get your numbers,
That
bro.
makes sense.
You know, it's funny, Doc Rivers, number 2 in the least. Doc Rivers, number 6 in who do you want to play for the most?
Well, that's what Giannis said, too, and now he's regretting that, so.
Sierra and Schachter Show back after the Sports Center with more Jaguars talk. And, of course, John Shipley joins us right here on ESPN 690.
Spring has sprung, and tax return season is here. Now's the time to beautify your home by replacing your old windows with new energy-efficient, easy-to-clean windows from American Window Products. Keep the summer heat out with special glass packages, including low E3 and argon gas. American Window Products only uses the highest quality products and professionally trained employees to install. Call now to find out why they were voted the #1 window company in Jacksonville. 731-2247 for a free estimate, or visit AmericanWindowProducts.com.
Small business owners are faced with an endless array of challenges, and security for today's business is right up there at the top of the list. You should know that in addition to top-notch security systems, SafeTouch Security offers smarter solutions for your business. SafeTouch provides 24/7 video surveillance and a whole lot more. Get video alerts from motion detection cameras, customized and controlled from the mobile app. And introducing SafeTouch's Business Activity Analytics, which helps optimize how your business runs. Monitor crowd gathering, traffic flow, queue monitoring, and that's just the start. SafeTouch isn't just a security company. They're more like a business partner helping to keep an eye on your business. Now that's peace of mind. Crooks know to stay away from SafeTouch houses, and SafeTouch businesses are no different. Right now, SafeTouch Security is offering a once-a-year deal which can save you up to 50% on your commercial-grade security package. Call 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license EF 2000-1945.
Bueller Air Conditioning presents Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, a corporate management manager from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Les Blankston.
Yeah, hi, Bob.
That is a remarkably beige suit there, Les. Tell us, why are you on the show?
Well, I just replaced my old air conditioner with a new one from Bueller, and I'm just so comfortable these days. I wondered, am I cool now?
Let's find out, Les. Go ahead and spin the wheel.
That's right, Les. By upgrading your old AC to a more energy-efficient model from Bueller Air Conditioning, you'll save money, save energy, and proudly show your family that you are cool.
Ooh, do you think I should get a mohawk?
Pace yourself, Les.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Jacksonville Coogies. It's me, Soccer Sam from Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizzeria is now open in Jacksonville, Florida. Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. $10 daily deals, dine-in beer and wine, and delivery. Salvatores.com.
Jacksonville is the largest city in the contiguous U.S. in square miles. So when you have to cover breaking news over an area bigger than L.A., Phoenix, or Dallas, you need an advantage. Action News Jax, with a fleet of news-gathering drones to take you to breaking news live as it happens. And with more investigative reporters on the ground. In every local county, you're informed no matter where you live. Action News Jax. Local coverage you can count on.
Attention all pickleballers, get ready to drink in the first ever Smoothie King Crown Cup on April 27th. Flex your skills and raise funds to benefit the Mal Washington Youth Foundation. Visit malwashington.com for details and registration. Live from the Anajar and Levine studios, Anajar and Levine Accident Attorneys. Call 1-800-747-FREE.
That's 1-800-747-3733.
WOKV Jacksonville. Listen live everywhere you go on ESPN690.com. ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Hey guys, we're the Twin Peaks Girls. Come have lunch with us every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and listen to the Young and Norvell Show on ESPN 690.
This is SportsCenter.
I'm Christine Lisi. Question marks surrounding a pair of 76ers players for Game 2 of their first-round NBA playoff series against the Knicks tonight, 7 Eastern ESPN Radio. Center Joel Embiid, left knee injury recovery, and point guard Tyrese Maxey with an illness, both listed as questionable. Phillies down 1-0. Stanley Cup playoffs, Maple Leafs forward William Nylander with an undisclosed injury. Game time decision, Game 2 against the Bruins tonight, 7 Eastern ESPN. That's followed by Game 1, Golden Knights Stars. It's a tough way for defending champion Vegas to kick off its title defense, notes ESPN NHL analyst PK Subban.
Dallas, a deep team, hungry. Jamie Benn, Tyler Seguin, the whole crew, Matt Duchene, Heiskanen, Ottinger in net. These guys are poised to want to make a deep run, but you know what? You want to beat the champs? You got to beat the champs, and Vegas has only gotten better. Picking up Thomas Hertl, Anthony Mantha, Noah Hannafin on the back end.
Golden Knights captain Mark Stone returns from a lacerated spleen to play tonight. NFL, Jets trading former number 2 overall pick Zach Wilson and a 7th-round pick to Denver for a 6th-rounder.
Feeling great starts with a great shave, and great shaves start with Barbasol Shaving Cream. That's Barbasol Shaving Cream, an American classic for over 100 years. Close Shave America, Close Shave Barbasol.
Who is this guy? Aaron Shafting? What is it? Oh, Schachter? Schachter. Okay. Shack Attack. Schachter. He gets shacked. But I digress. Here we go.
Ready? Yeah. Turn off your radio.
The Aaron Schachter Show on ESPN 690.
What up? It's the Aaron Schachter Show, 904-362-9901. Ladies and gentlemen, it's the NFL Draft Week. Oh, what a tremendous week it is. First time in a long time, we get to sit back and talk about draft picks. Oh, look at you, Justin. A little sprinkle of sparkle on the Aaron Schachter Show. A little auditory enjoyment, triggering people who are draft nicks. Jags have the 17 pick amongst 7 others. 8 in total for the 2024 draft before Baalke gets his hands on it and tries to wheel and deal. And, of course, we're bringing in one of our favorite experts, one of our favorite reporters when it comes to the Jaguars. Ladies and gentlemen, we welcome John Shipley to the show. John writes for the Jaguar Report over at Fan Nation. John, welcome back.
Hey, how you doing, my friend?
Great, great. Hey, man, I want to ask you if you were at the Baalke and Doug Peterson press conference from last week.
Oh, absolutely.
Okay. So as somebody who was in the room, I now finally have a chance to ask somebody on the record about this because I've now asked 2 or 3 people off the record and have had some pretty enjoyable remarks. But clearly, you were there when Baalke made the move heard round the world. Talking about...
Yeah.
Go ahead.
I'd like to assert my Fifth Amendment privilege.
Oh, okay. I see. So a little cover-up happening. That's fine. Well, even though the media might be a little afraid, Baalke was the one who excused himself and drew attention to it. I actually thought it was pretty courageous on his part. I was curious if the room felt the barometer change like you would when a storm is a brewing. It sounds like maybe they did, but I won't make you go too deep into it. I'm winking and elbow nudging at you. I understand what's going down.
No, I honestly, it wasn't until after the press conference that I even noticed like that clip going around. Like in real time, no, it went over my head completely.
I assumed because I didn't think in the press conference you guys have speakers set up for that microphone. Do you? It's just to pick up audio for their content.
Yeah. I think it makes them a little louder, but not overly.
What a wild press conference to be at. But that wasn't the only headliner coming out of that press conference. A few other things happened at this press conference specific to the 2024 NFL draft, John. And one of those things was that Baalke seemed obsessed with talking about moving to 12 or 13 in the draft. And anytime I hear a GM mention some kind of story or narrative a few times, especially this close to the draft, it reminds me of a bad liar trying to lie about something. It reminds me of people trying to really, really, really hard convince everybody else of something. And so as you sat there as someone in real time listening to the general manager talk, mentioning picks 12 and 13 a few times, just randomly it seemed, were you thinking there was smoke where there was fire? Were you buying in?
It was interesting to me. So I said after the press conference that I normally, like the Jaguars won't give away a ton at press conferences. Like they won't show you, what kind of hand they're playing with.
Sure.
But I've always found them at least forthcoming and like to the extent that they can be in these kind of press conferences. It was in this press conference, like this exact one 2 years ago, where I walked out of the room thinking, okay, there's no way at all that they're taking Aiden Hutchinson. Like Trayvon Walker is the guy. Just off the vibe they gave and the answers they gave, that's more or less what I got from this. I know there's obviously a report from Albert Breer of SI this morning that they've considered moving up and that they've done homework on the top receivers. Naturally, if you're going to move up for a receiver in this class, you would think it has to be into the top 10. So
yeah, it ain't going to be a 12 or 13 for sure. Yeah.
Exactly, especially for one of those big three guys. So if you're mentioning 12 or 13, to me, that would have to scream, cornerback, I think, because that would be the range where corners start coming off the board. So if draft night comes around and we see them move up, with the Broncos or with the Raiders for Kerryon Auto or Kenyon Mitchell, then people will be able to point to that and say, oh, he had completely laid out their plan. But I don't think he's somebody who's going to directly give it away. I think he was more so saying, we're going to wait to potentially move up until it's closer to our pick so we know, which one of our guys that we must have, if that makes sense.
It does make sense. And I wasn't necessarily buying 12 or 13, but here's what I thought was happening. And you tell me if you think this is a viable possibility. You look at a team like the Colts, who are sitting 2 picks ahead of the Jaguars with essentially the same needs, at least the major needs at corner and wide receiver. And I think Trent's trying to make Ballard and folks over in Indy a little bit nervous about who they've got their eye on at 15. A lot of the mocks have the Colts either taking Terrion Arnold or Quinion Mitchell out of Toledo at cornerback, or possibly even a Brian Thomas Jr. There's also been some smoke about the Colts maybe possibly wanting to trade up for Brock Bowers. I don't necessarily see that happening. That being said, when I heard Baalke talking about 12 or 13, I thought he was aiming that directly at the Indianapolis Colts.
Yeah, and he very well could be. It's not often you see divisional rivals pick that close next to each other. And, I mean, if you just look at the needs, they're extremely similar. Both need cornerback help, both need wide receiver help. It wouldn't surprise me in the least if each of them has the same, pool of players identified as the guys they want to target. So, I mean, I could certainly see that being the case. And maybe you want to, try to convince Indianapolis to give up some draft capital and move up when you have no intention of actually moving up. You can potentially consider that a win. So the draft's amazing, seeing, all 32 GMs or whatever try to play mind games with each other when it really doesn't need to be, that type of thing. But these guys play things close to the vest. There's a lot of smoke screens and rumors. And I think Bill Belichick said it best last week when he said basically everything you hear up until the day of the draft is more or less BS.
Yeah, exactly. But, it's a funny thing. You mentioned Bill Belichick. One of the guys and one of the teams in the Patriots last year that played those games with the Jets by trading with the Steelers right before the Jets were going to pick a tackle. They trade to the Steelers, who they know need a tackle, and the Patriots didn't necessarily need one. Patriots move behind the Jets. Steelers take Jets tackle. Jets take a pass rusher who they can't even play, and they have him 7th or 8th on the depth chart. And I wouldn't be surprised if there was a little more gamesmanship out of the AFC South this year as well. You mentioned Albert Breer's report a little bit earlier. Here's what Breer was saying. We read it a little bit earlier on the show, but I'll revisit it for a second. Breer is reporting the Jaguars have explored moving up, and they're doing a lot of work on the top receivers in the draft. But he does essentially say they would do that, or if Arnold or Mitchell were available, failing that the Jags would be comfortable taking them there. I happen to think corner is the main priority in the draft, and if either of those guys are there is no move to be had. That guy will just get drafted. If you had to choose today, do you think the Jags are looking wide receiver first or corner first, or is it something we're not thinking about?
So when it comes to this question, I thought maybe the most revealing thing Baalke said at the press conference was how much he and the team actually lean into drafting for need. You know, if two players are somewhat close in a grade, but you have a bigger need for one than the other, then you're going to take a player who you have a bigger need for, which normally all 32 NFL GMs are trying to sell the lie that they only draft the best player available and the highest grade on their board. It doesn't happen. And
No,
fans, I know, believe it does. But teams are incorporating need into all these. So, to me, if you look at wide receiver and you look at cornerback, I know they're seen as the top two needs. I know probably a majority of fan base sees number one receiver as a bigger need. But just looking at the two depth charts, to me, it's obvious cornerback is probably the biggest need organizationally. The Jaguars can sell themselves on Christian Kirk and Gabe Davis and Zay Jones. And you can even throw Evan Ingram in there since he's kind of a de facto wide receiver.
Sure.
I don't think they can sell themselves on the cornerback depth that they have right now. Ronald Darby is ideally a number 3 cornerback who can start for you in a pinch. He's not ideally far and away the second best cornerback on their roster. So I think when it comes between, you know, what position I think that they will look at most seriously in the first round, I still go corner because the depth chart just screams to me that that's their biggest need far and away.
And we saw what it looked like a couple of seasons ago without Calvin Ridley. We know it's a thing that can actually work on the field as long as everything goes according to plan in terms of health and injuries, right? As long as the offensive line is not walking in medical boots by halfway through the season, you go, all right, Trevor knows he can throw to Christian Kirk, Evan Ingram. He knows he can throw to Zay Jones if Zay's on the team. He knows he can throw to Travis Etienne. He's got tools there. Whereas, to your point, all apologies to Tyson Campbell, in this current scheme, we don't know that Campbell will be okay. And if you're drafting Terrion Arnold or Quinion Mitchell, and those guys are the real deal because you don't know until they hit the field, you could end up drafting a number 1 corner with that pick at 17 in this draft. Justin, did I cut you off? Is this something you want to say?
Well, no, you mentioned Trevor and made me think. John, do you think Trevor's in there saying?
Oh, no, my bad. No, I mean, to me, the big thing with this cornerback class is, and Baalke even mentioned it, is there are so many cornerbacks that are probably close together this year. I mean, just the top 5 alone between Kenyon Mitchell, Terrion Arnold, Kool-Aid McKinstry, Cooper Zagina, Nate Wiggins. Those guys, all 5 probably around the league, have pretty similar grades. So to me, that's even another point against potentially trading up is you can stay at 17 and find a cornerback on the same tier, in my opinion, as you could at 12 or 13. So, and when it comes to the NFL draft, it's hard for any team or evaluator to have that much self-confidence in being right about an evaluation. I know it's their job, but at the end of the day, when it comes to trades and stuff like that, the data says you're better off just standing pat, letting the draft come to you as opposed to making an aggressive move up. So that's what I expect right now is for them to stay at 17 and take a corner.
One more point on the whole trading up, trading down, or staying put. We talked about possibly picking up certainly a starting corner, but maybe a corner to lead your secondary. When it comes to wide receiver, at 17, you're essentially looking at Brian Thomas Jr. if he's still there. This is not, I don't think anyone is projecting Brian Thomas Jr. to be a number 1 receiver for anybody's team in the future, although a very talented guy, certainly a huge target, especially in the red zone. Ton of touchdowns last year. You like what you see there. He's certainly a body type you don't have on the Jacksonville Jaguars right now, but I don't hear anyone predicting this guy's going to be a number 1 wide receiver for a franchise within the next 2 to 3 years.
Yeah, he's a guy who, if he comes in and this isn't, a comparison made strictly off the school, obviously, but he reminds me a lot of potentially the kind of impact a guy like DJ Chark would have where he can come in and be a viable deep threat early on. You can put him on the outside, send him on go routes down the field where he can use his 4.3 speed and his size to, win on the deep ball. But I struggle to think that he can be an instant impact guy otherwise. I think he's a very niche type of player where, obviously a lot of physical talent, a lot of production, but he reminds me a lot of, outside of Chark, also Christian Watson, who, the Green Bay Packers took in the second round 2 years ago now. He's made some really big plays in the NFL because he's such a height, weight, speed, size freak. But on the flip side, he's also not a very consistent guy, and he's more of a role guy than a number 1. And that's how I kind of see Thomas.
Yeah, also dealing with a ton of injuries over the last year or two. Over the past couple of days, I've also been talking about ways that maybe the Jaguars can upgrade this roster that have nothing to do with the end of this week or this weekend. For instance, we've been talking all offseason about names like T. Higgins and Brandon Ayuk, although I think neither one of them are coming this way towards Duval before the start of the 2024 season. There are other names that are floating out there as possible trade targets for teams that are either still in salary cap mess or just have a bad personnel situation brewing on the team right now. I'm going to run a couple of those by you. You tell me if you think there's any possibility that we could see these guys in a Jaguars uniform. A name like Courtland Sutton has been making the rounds. Certainly unhappy in Denver, not only about the tools he has around him with Jarrett Stidham, Zach Wilson, and Ben DiNucci as his quarterback room, but also the fact that Jerry Jeudy is now gone, and it looks like the team will be taking a step backwards in rebuilding rather than taking a step forwards in rebuilding. Oh, and by the way, he wants a new deal at 29 years old. So do you feel like Courtland Sutton is a name we might be talking about here in Jacksonville?
I think he'd be relatively cheaper in terms of compensation than the other guys you could potentially get. He fills a need on the outside. He has like the type of profile they don't really have, and I think would fit well with Trevor Lawrence. I think he'd make a lot of sense because you're going to see other receivers go for much higher draft capital. I think you could probably get Courtland Sutton for a 4th or 5th round pick.
Yeah, get him on a bargain, and he's a good receiver. Like, he's really good. And I think he'd be your best on the Jaguars at this point, with apologies to Christian Kirk and the rest of the boys, maybe Evan Ingram a little bit too, but Courtland Sutton, a proven commodity, very efficient in the red zone and down in the end zone, and could be a great tool for Trevor Lawrence. On the other side of the ball, you've already seen L'Jarius Sneed get traded. Same team, Pat Surtain. Apparently, the team is looking to deal Pat Surtain before they have to make him the highest paid cornerback in the league. The Jaguars seem like they've been stockpiling some cap now. I think the latest estimate I saw is around $30 million. Do you think they're making room to sign a big name like a Pat Surtain maybe on the defensive side of the ball?
I think they want to give themselves the flexibility to potentially go after a big name. I'm not sure they necessarily have one specific player picked out, and I also think they might be waiting until after they pay Trevor Lawrence to, explore another blockbuster. But I mean, Surtain would be, obviously a perfect fit. He's one of the best young corners in the NFL, and he has been since he entered the NFL in 2021. So I certainly think wouldn't be a move to bat your eye at.
Now, another name that caught my attention did so because he played with Ryan Nielsen and Chris Richards, but Marshawn Lattimore is supposedly on the block as well, and you can see why. The Saints in cap hell right now. I still think they've got a lot of issues before they're cap compliant. But I guess my question to you is, if any of these names, Pat Surtain, Marshawn Lattimore, or any of these cornerbacks that are supposedly on the block possibly are looking to be traded, get moved to the Jaguars as opposed to the Jags drafting, or even if they do end up drafting, I mean, how secure is Tyson Campbell's job right now?
I think it's fairly secure. I think they want to see, especially entering a contract year, they want to see if he can both rebound from last year and, fit in this new scheme because, there was a lot of talk of Darius Williams not being a fit for the new scheme, and he wasn't. But I also think there's reasons to believe maybe Tyson Campbell isn't either. He obviously has the physicality and the length and the size you need to be a premier, press corner. But in his career, he's always been better with his eyes facing the quarterback and reading the quarterback and driving downhill on the ball, as opposed to having his head turned away from the quarterback and having to play the ball in the air. So I think his job's safe, but it'll be interesting to me to see how he adapts to a new scheme.
A couple of more names. I'm curious where you're at in terms of their job safety going into the 2024 season. A guy like Zay Jones, do you think he makes it to the roster on his current contract to start next season?
I think he does, unless they add a receiver early in the draft. I think if they trade up for one or maybe even take one in the second, I think he could be the odd man out. They just have the rookie start at Z. If they don't make any kind of move for a receiver, I think in the top 100, then I do think his job is safe and he'll finish out his contract and then be on his way as they try to figure out what to do with that spot moving forward.
The cap savings from trading a guy like Cam Robinson look relatively the same pre-June 1 to post-June 1. Is Cam Robinson somebody who you think his job is safe going into 2024 at this point?
I think so. The Jaguars have always been high on Cam Robinson. Trent Baalke has always been a big Cam Robinson guy. I've never gotten the impression that Doug Peterson isn't a big Cam Robinson guy either. They like to talk about what he does, for the tone of the room, for the culture. They like the fact that he's probably one of their few offensive linemen who can actually be described as, physical and a little bit of a bully on the field. So I think he's sticking around mostly just because he has two big fans in Trent Baalke and Doug Peterson.
No doubt. So I guess my final question to you would be this. I need you to rank in terms of what you think is most likely, and you got a few options here. I'll give you 4, all right? Jags trade up, Jags trade down, Jags draft a corner, Jags draft a wide receiver. in order of what do you think most likely to happen is. Where are you going with it?
All right, I'll go Jags, take a corner, Jags trade down, Jags trade up, and then Jags take a receiver fourth.
You know, it's funny. I was reading an article from The Athletic earlier this week, last week, and they were referencing a Nobel Prize winner in economics who actually took part in a paper done for a couple of universities, but really on behalf of a few NFL franchises. It's like a world-renowned mathematician. And they asked these guys to look over data from past NFL drafts and maybe try and come up with like not like an instruction manual, but like a white paper. Basically, like, here are your best practices for the draft, do's and don'ts. And it was very interesting to me, Justin, that in this paper, it said you should almost never trade up. We were talking about that before the show and how unexciting that is, which is why I bring it up, John, because Justin and I are sitting here going, we want to see our teams try and strive for the best player. And sometimes it's even more exciting when they jump a few teams to go get them. Everyone's all hungry. Everyone's got adrenaline rolling. Your team makes a trade. You almost don't care who they made the trade for. Just seeing them move up is the excitement. But I guess you mentioned it a little bit earlier when we were talking about early on about what the Jags can do in the draft. The GMs know the more darts you throw at the dartboard for your guests, the better off you are.
Yeah, exactly. That's the entire argument to make. And there's been studies, on this in terms of, what kind of plus value you can get in terms of trading up versus just staying at your pick. And you're seeing a lot of teams now do pick swaps instead of pure trade ups, and I think that could be one solution, to kind of get some value back. But it's just hard, and something as unpredictable as the NFL draft. I know front offices work on it 365 days a year. These guys are watching these guys to death. But at the end of the day, it's just hard to say that you have the ultimate confidence that player A is better than player B, because you don't really know. It's a crapshoot, so why not provide yourself with as many chances as possible to get it right?
I do think there's something to be said for the fan base's influence on the pick. For instance, if you're Trent Baalke, and not that I believe that this is the case for him, but I'm saying hypothetically, if Trent believed the job was on the line with this drafter this season, maybe he would allow the influence from the fan base to prevent him from doing a move that would widely be panned by fans and media alike, where maybe he could elongate his time with the team if he's got a more favorable image or output from the draft, whereas the smarter move might be to do what he loves to do, which is accumulate draft picks, specifically south of the 5th round, and try and throw those darts at the dartboard. Do you think the fan base or the media ever plays a role in pressuring the front office to jump and make that trade to move up?
I definitely think in some cases, GMs feel, the seat is hot in a lot of cases, and they feel like they have to make a move. I've never felt like Baalke is overly influenced by that, but I will say, if he trades up to like pick 8 or number 9, takes Malik Neighbors, even if there are people like me who say trade up maybe isn't a great idea, if he does that, then nobody in the fan base will say a bad word about him.
Oh, my goodness, no.
The first loss in the regular season comes along. So it's definitely a way to buy yourself some credit in the fan base.
Sure. Not only that, but if you're trading up to go get a weapon like Malik Neighbors, you go, all right, well, that was a Trevor Lawrence pick. I mean, you're essentially negotiating the extension through the draft at that point.
Yeah, because you're ensuring that he has a cheap number 1 weapon while his contract's picking up, which is what they ultimately need to do. They can't, whenever Trevor gets paid, they have to completely reevaluate the way they build their receiver room, because the last 3 years, it's all been about throwing money at veterans and free agents.
Sure.
They've drafted only 2 receivers in the last 2 years, both in the 6th round, which is baffling to me in today's current NFL climate.
I do think they go receiver after the 1st round. I'm looking at you, Troy Franklin out of Oregon. I do think that that's a pick the Jaguars might like if they can't get their hands on a Brian Thomas Jr. in the 1st round. I hope Zay Jones is still on this team next year. I think he's part of that good core of guys who like each other, like playing with each other, understand the playbook and what we're trying to do here. I believe in the metrics that say he gets good separation, although I think you're right. I think at the savings they can get while getting rid of him, especially if they pick up a wide receiver, they're going to have to start managing the roster financially in that sense. But I'm looking at Christian Kirk as well. Basically, Trevor's favorite, or maybe his most reliable target, especially on 3rd down. And you go, here's a guy making $24 million against the cap. Like, they're going to have to do some work there. I don't see Christian Kirk wanting to leave anytime soon. I think he would like to stay with the franchise.
Oh, 100%. And Christian Kirk to me is, one of those guys who I think when we talk about guys who might be moving on soon, who they've signed the last couple of years, Christian Kirk doesn't come to my mind. I think when you see guys like Zay Jones move on sooner and later, guys potentially like Roy Robson-Harris and some of the other guys in those free agency groups, I don't put Christian Kirk in that group. I think he'll be a Jaguar more or less as long as he wants to be.
Last question, then we'll let you go, man. With what Ryan Nielsen has begun to do on the defensive side of the ball, what Trent Baalke has helped him accomplish in just a few weeks as the defensive coordinator here in Jacksonville, I almost feel like it's a mini rebuild on the defensive side of the ball. You kept the main stalwarts of the defense. It's not even like you completely reshaped the roster in terms of players, but between the scheme change and the reliance that you'll be looking for, guys like Josh Allen, Trayvon Walker having even more of a reliance put on those guys, especially once you start moving them around the line in the formation. A guy like Eric Armstead being added to the fold, a guy like Foye Oluokun not only reing up and making sure he's here for the next year or two, but a guy like Devin Lloyd talking about how he plans to get off after the quarterback this year, maybe putting his hand down in the dirt. It almost feels like you've rebuilt and reshaped this defense. Still more work to do in the secondary, as we just talked about. You don't necessarily have a true number one and number two locked in yet. We'll see what it looks like after the draft. But I do want to give a little bit of credit to the team here of getting a rebuild done without completely tearing the entire roster apart.
Oh, 100%. They, in my opinion, on the defensive side, made a lot of moves that I think, were the right ones. Moving on, Foley Fatukasi, moving on from Rayshon Jenkins and Darius Williams, who maybe weren't as good scheme fits as they were in the last game. Because the scheme that they're set to run under Ryan Nielsen could not be more different than the one Mike Caldwell ran. From how the front looks to how they play coverage, it is night and day. So I'm with definitely credit to them for the moves they've made and the pieces they've acquired. And, it's funny. Every NFL fan, it seems like during this part of the offseason, likes to compare teams as if they're done building. No, I mean, this Jag team is still going to look a lot different in just a couple of days.
Awesome. We always enjoy talking to you, John Shipley, the best author over there at Jaguars Report for Fan Nation, beat writer for the Jaguars. Great insights. Appreciate you joining the show, man.
Hey, thank you, my friend.
All right, have a great one.
All right. Yep.
Busy week for John Shipley over there. Getting it done for us. Appreciate that. Always great stuff. See, me and John are on the same page, Justin.
You guys sounded like, you guys both don't want him to trade up.
Yeah, I mean, it would be cool if they traded up for like a Malik Neighbors or a Roma Dunze, but I just don't see it happening. It's not really the way the team operates.
Mm-hmm.
I think corner's the bigger need.
Well, I wonder how much, if Trevor Lawrence is in that room saying, get me a wide receiver, how much does that come into consideration?
I mean, I got news for you. If Trevor Lawrence is banging on the table saying I need a wide receiver, I don't think anyone in the front office is going Brian Thomas Jr. is the answer to that equation.
That's fair.
I think they're looking at actual big names who are established in the league. I mean, either moving up, which seems like it costs a lot, or you go out and you get somebody who's unhappy, like a Courtland Sutton, and you do it that way. A lot of people still think Brandon Ayuk is out there to be had. I think it's the Steelers or bust. I think if it's not the Steelers, he's going to be on the Niners for another year. A lot of people think T. Higgins is out there to be had. I think there's almost no chance T. Higgins isn't on the Bengals next season. Maybe it happens. Depends if the Bengals go out and the wide receiver in the draft or draft Brock Bowers, another offensive weapon, then it tells you what they got cooking. Maybe Higgins is dealt at the draft. But it doesn't seem likely to me.
Well, and from a Bengals standpoint, you do that, you kind of lower the trade value at that point because you showed your cards, unless you already have something pretty much worked up.
Well, I mean, fortunately for the Bengals, they don't have to trade him. He's locked in for the season at $24 million, but I just don't see it happening in Jacksonville. It's the Aaron Schachter Show. Want to know where you're at? What do you think the Jags are doing in the draft this year? 904-362-9901. Specifically in the first round, lots of decisions to be made. The only one we're making here is take a quick break on the Aaron Schachter Show.
Now, the First Alert forecast on ESPN 690.
Cloudy, breezy, and cool on this Monday. Our daytime highs will only be around 70, but I do think we see some peaks of sunshine this afternoon. And then it gets cool tonight. Our overnight lows will drop into the low 50s before we turn the corner Tuesday. It'll be a sunny and nice day with highs in the 70s. From the Action News Jax First Alert Weather Center, I'm meteorologist Corey Sima.
The Weather Center is brought to you by Beard's Diamond. April means it's buy one, get one on wedding bands, only at Beard's Diamonds.
Ladies and gentlemen, experience the thrill of the Kentucky Derby at Best Bet. Saturday, May 4th, witness the most exciting 2 minutes in sports and dive into the action with live wagering. This could be your lucky day. Mark your calendars and join us at Best Bet Jacksonville, Orange Park, or St. Augustine on May 4th for the ultimate Kentucky Derby experience. Visit bestbetjacks.com for more details. That's bestbetjacks.com.
Hey, boss, did you see the latest article in the Crooks R Us newsletter?
No, but I'm sure it's going to involve Safe Touch and probably give me a rash.
It says more people than ever are concerned about security, and Safe Touch Security, of course, is leading the way with new cutting-edge security systems.
Oh, here we go.
Yeah, it goes beyond security, too. Now Safe Touch has systems integrated with the home's thermostats, lights, door locks, and of course the encrypted security cameras.
Yeah, never home alone and never away from home. I remember the slogan.
Ooh, and now Safe Touch is running a special for existing customers to upgrade their system.
Look, Skippy, this changes nothing. The Crooks R Us golden rule is still in effect. Stay away from Safe Touch houses.
Yeah.
Now go find us a house without Safe Touch.
Got it, boss.
Crooks know to stay away from Safe Touch houses. Hi, I'm Lester Jackson of Safe Touch Security Systems. No one beats our technology or our price.
Right now, existing Safe Touch customers can upgrade their system at 50% off. Call 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license EF 2000-1945.
Investigative journalism. It's the difference between the Action News Jack style of news and everyone else's.
I'm Ben Becker. This scam is targeting residents on the South Side.
We investigate so you're crystal clear how a story impacts you.
I'm Emily Turner. Look at the fine print because you're still getting billed.
Because our reporters don't just tell you what happened. We break down how it affects you and your neighborhood, which is why people are putting their trust in us. Action News Jacks at 5 and 6. It's local coverage you can count on.
Hi, I'm Mike Lister, the founder of Talon Wealth and the host of the Guarding Your Nest Egg radio show. Like you, I love this country, and I'm very thankful for those that protect us along with our freedoms. That's why for active military and active first responders, if you decide to work with us, Talon Wealth isn't going to charge you any advisor fees. We're happy to explain all the details, but most importantly, thank you for your service.
Visit guardingyournestegg.com to find out more.
Advisory services through Talon Private Wealth and SEC Registered Investment Advisor. Lord License D056341.
Bueller Air Conditioning presents Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, a corporate management manager from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Les Blankston.
Yeah, hi, Bob.
That is a remarkably beige suit there, Les. Tell us, why are you on the show?
Well, I just replaced my old air conditioner with a new one from Bueller, and I'm just so comfortable these days. I wondered, am I cool now?
Let's find out, Les. Go ahead and spin the wheel.
That's right, Les. By upgrading your old AC to a more energy-efficient model from Bueller Air Conditioning, you'll save money, save energy, and proudly show your family that you are cool.
Ooh, do you think I should get a mohawk?
Pace yourself, Les.
Stay cooler with Bueller.
Visit BuellerAir.com.
Whether you own a local business or a global one, you know that these days, generating growth is a challenge. By teaming with Bank of America, you'll not just stay ahead of the curve, you'll move it. With access to experts, award-winning insights, and business solutions so powerful, you'll make every move matter, locally and globally. Visit bankofamerica.com/banking for business to learn more. What would you like the power to do? Copyright 2024 Bank of America N.A.
Do you have unfiled tax returns or being threatened by the IRS that your wages are about to be garnished or bank accounts are going to be levied? You need an ally. Allies Tax Relief has professionals ready to fight for you. Their enrolled agents, tax attorneys, and CPAs have saved millions of dollars for taxpayers just like you. They won't just resolve your tax problems, they'll most importantly protect your wages, bank accounts, and all your assets from being taken by the IRS. Call for a free consultation. 800-230-5174. 800-230-5174 or go to alliestaxrelief.com.
Hey guys, we're the Twin Peaks Girls. We just love guys that listen to the Young and Norvell Show. Weekdays, 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. on ESPN 690.
Welcome back to the Aaron Schachter Show. Justin's alerted me. I think we have some breaking news. Unfortunately, Justin, it's not actual breaking news. Matt Ryan announced today he was retiring, even though he retired last year as well.
Oh.
Last year's retirement wasn't official, and we had uncovered, with the help of other reporters, that Matt Ryan had a bonus coming to him from the Colts. And if he didn't retire, despite being on the CBS broadcast team, if he didn't officially file the paperwork, I think he was getting like $15 million or something like that. So Matt Ryan, in a little bit for the double dip, getting the check from the NFL and the check from CBS. And now that bonus action is done, Matt Ryan now has officially retired, and the Colts have moved on to their...
It's my quarterback.
Yeah, the next... They moved on to the next geriatric quarterback, Joe Flacco. Yeah. Hey, speaking of geriatric old people, I hear we got another phone caller.
We do.
Kilkenny joins the show. Welcome to the Aaron Schachter Show, Daniel Kilkenny.
I can't hear you, Sonny.
What's going on, buddy?
Oh, not too much. Just excited to finally have you back on.
Yeah, for real.
So just throwing it out here. If you were to take what's his name, McKinnon, or the quarterback,
Kool-Aid McKinstry.
No, not Kool-Aid. The other one.
Quinion Mitchell, Terrion Arnold. Who are you looking for?
Yeah, Quinion Mitchell.
Okay.
I was combining names there. Sorry. But if we were to take him, and then do a little bit of playing around with, a little bit of bulky specials.
All right.
Be able to get someone like Leggett and Xavier Worthy. Everybody keeps talking about number one receiver, and Doug keeps saying, I don't play number one receiver games. And so, because you get one guy, he gets injured, and then you're just out. Forget that. He likes to have committees, and then everybody has 600, 800, 900, whatever, and we've seen that from the past. And so the things that we're missing is that real speed guy. And so what if we were to have a Worthy to be able to at least stretch the field on the outside, sort of like what Ridley was supposed to do last year, but he kept giving up on plays and not being where we're supposed to be. But if we had someone that would actually just run out there, know you're only going to get the ball, every now and then, but just take that safety deep so that we can open up the center for Zay and Kirk and everybody else, Davis and stuff. What would you think about something like that?
I actually don't think it's a bad move at all. It certainly costs less than going up and getting a true number one, or using that first-round pick on Brian Thomas Jr. and then having to go get like an Enos Rakestraw or Kool-Aid McKinstry a little bit later, maybe trading up into the second round. But to get a Leggett or a Worthy, you would have to probably trade up to the top of the second round. I think the Panthers are on record, or at least they were, to Leggett, telling him if he's still on the board at like 30 or whatever they're picking, 33, that they'd go and get him. So, but I do think a guy like Troy Franklin, which is a little bit of what you're talking about, a guy who can stretch the field. He's got a body type that the Jaguars don't have on the team, similar to Brian Thomas Jr., a big guy who can stretch the field. But I'm on the same page as you, man. I don't necessarily need the number one receiver on this team. I saw what it looked like in 22 with Trev and the boys without Calvin Ridley. I think another option could be helpful because you do want to stretch the field. You do have too many slot guys running in the middle of the field at this point. So sure, a Troy Franklin or someone like that going downfield could be great, and then you pick up a corner in the first. I just think there's more work to be done in that secondary. It's making me a little bit nervous. I thought the Jags got trued up a little bit by passers in the back half of the year last year. Granted, they played some good ones, but still, you certainly don't want to see teams throwing all over the yard, and you got a couple of good quarterbacks in the South now.
Exactly, and get some guys that will actually stick to assignment. There were too many times last year where there were guys doubling up and going in the same place, and all of a sudden there's a big hole, and then there's Tank Dell going down the field, and it's like, what'd you do? One of you was supposed to be over there.
It's accurate, yeah.
And people keep talking about getting rid of Zay and everything else. Zay is one of the best blocking receivers that we have, and now that we have Zay and Davis both on there, they were both willing and great blockers. Man, I could just see our screen game going crazy this year.
I do love Zay Jones. I think he's great for this team, and I'm going to be really sad to see him go if that's something that the team ends up doing.
Oh, exactly. So, and edge rusher. We keep talking about edge rush and everything, but Smoot is not an expensive guy, and yet can get him back. I mean, that way, I know everybody's like, oh, he's not on contract right now. That's a simple fix. You sign him into a contract. It's that easy. His first game back last year, the last play of the last defensive play for the Jags, in the half of that game, he had a strip sack fumble, which ended up leading to a scoring opportunity.
Yes, it did.
And so, people talk about, oh, well, his sacks aren't. Well, I'm not a box score Betty, so I'm not just going to sit back and say, oh, well, this guy doesn't have this guy doesn't have that. He is in on more running plays than he is on passing plays. And so, but you look at the amount of tackles for loss, which I wish they would just get rid of the whole sack thing, the sack number totally, and just just do it as tackle for loss. Because if a guy steps out of bounds and they're like, oh, did he really get a sack? Well, he made the guy not be able to pass.
Yeah, all you need to do is disrupt the play at that point.
Exactly. And how many times for how many years did we hear the whole playbook on Brady, was get pressure on him.
Yeah, get him off timing, yeah.
Yeah, get him uncomfortable. And so when people try to poo-poo on, quarterback pressures, well, that's one of the things that you would do to be able to beat one of the dynasties of the football is to make him uncomfortable.
Yeah. No, I agree with you, man. It's a good take. As a matter of fact, let me go ahead and give you 2 points. I got to pause your point to point out the fact that super producer Justin Cousart laughed when you said the words poo-poo, and this man is almost 40. I just want to point this out. Number 2, I do think, Kilkenny, before I let you go, I do want to give you a shout-out because one of the things I love to do on this show now is criticize reporters in the Jacksonville media. And it actually grew out of you criticizing Brent Martineau, TV's Burt Martineau, on this very show, one of the former incarnations of this show. So thank you for the inspiration, Daniel.
Absolutely, man. I love the show. I really enjoy your takes. And the fact that you can come to it from an outside and have an open mind.
Just a fan.
Fantastic.
Yeah, just a fan. I appreciate that, Daniel. Thanks so much. Appreciate the call. Thank you for calling us up on ESPN 690, the Aaron Schachter Show, with you guys until 5 p.m. That dude's in the Listener Hall of Fame for no other reason than he says he likes what I do. That's all it takes. You want to get in the Aaron Schachter Show Listener Hall of Fame, you either have to tell me you like what I do or you have to be mean to me. I'll put South Beach in there.
You sure about that?
I am sure about that.
Okay.
I am. South Beach can get in there. Kilkenny can get in there. I hope Kilkenny doesn't feel like I've lowered the property value of the Listener Hall of Fame if South Beach is in there. We'll put Solid Take Brian in there. We'll even put nice listener Bruce in there, who called once and goes, "Oh, what's your name, fella?" I was like, "Thanks, buddy."
Thanks for calling in. I appreciate it. You're not.
Yeah.
I don't even know what I'm calling into. Yeah.
Exactly. That's basically what he said. Shout out to Glenn. I saw him in the chat last weekend. He's another one who goes in the Listener Hall of Fame. There's a ton of you. I'm waiting for you guys to come on back. Looking at you, YB, and Matt Jones, and all you other guys. We'll see you around here soon. It's the Aaron Schachter Show. We're here up till 5 p.m. We'll take a quick break now. When I come back, a couple of potpourri stories to give you, Justin.
Ooh.
I want to get your take on this. First of all, you got tampering charges that might be delivered to the Falcons over Kirk Cousins. Dak Prescott might be on a different team in 2024. And Tyreek Hill had a tough time watching the Super Bowl because his heart hurts. All of that coming up on the Aaron Schachter Show, ESPN 690.
ESPN 690 wants to pay your bills. We have 5 chances every weekday to win $1,000. All you have to do is enter the correct keyword at ESPN690.com to be eligible to win.
This is a nationwide contest. Message and data rates apply.
ESPN 690 Pays Your Bills is presented by Underwood Jewelers. 3 Jacksonville locations in San Marco, Ponte Vedra Beach, and Avondale.
Weekdays at 8 a.m., 10 a.m., noon, 2, and 5 p.m. Tune in to win from ESPN 690, Jacksonville's home for ESPN Radio.
Rich Jones here. Investing can be more about just filling a bank account. It's about having a secure retirement, protecting your family. Let DLP Capital help you to protect your why. Here's CEO and founder Don Wenner.
I started DLP Capital with an expectation that I could provide my family, my investors, my team members, and the families of my investors with awesome returns, limited volatility, and no losses, all while providing desperately needed affordable housing to the American workforce.
To get your investor's guide and learn more, dial *** invest on your cell phone or visit highyieldreturns.net.
Small business owners are faced with an endless array of challenges, and security for today's business is right up there at the top of the list. You should know that in addition to top-notch security systems, SafeTouch Security offers smarter solutions for your business. SafeTouch provides 24/7 video surveillance and a whole lot more. Get video alerts from motion detection cameras, customized and controlled from the mobile app. And introducing SafeTouch's Business Activity Analytics, which helps optimize how your business runs, monitor crowd gathering, traffic flow, queue monitoring, and that's just the start. SafeTouch isn't just a security company. They're more like a business partner helping to keep an eye on your business. Now that's peace of mind. Crooks know to stay away from SafeTouch houses, and SafeTouch businesses are no different. Right now, SafeTouch Security is offering a once-a-year deal which can save you up to 50% on your commercial-grade security package. Call 888-723-8682 or go to safetouch.com. State license EF 2000-1945.
Northeast Florida is home to the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic. If you have a need, they can help. Immediate access to care for active duty, veterans, National Guard and Reserve, and their entire families, regardless of discharge status or ability to pay. Cohen is in the community and ready to help. Referrals are not necessary. Call the Stephen A. Cohen Military Family Clinic at Centerstone, 904-431-3500. They also offer many free events and groups to join. Call 904-431-3500 or go to CohenInTheCommunity.com.
Spring has sprung and tax return season is here. Now's the time to beautify your home by replacing your old windows with new energy-efficient, easy-to-clean windows from American Window Products. Keep the summer heat out with special glass packages, including low E3 and argon gas. American Window Products only uses the highest quality products and professionally trained employees to install. Call now to find out why they were voted the #1 window company in Jacksonville. 731-2247 for a free estimate or visit AmericanWindowProducts.com.
Advisory services through Talon Private Wealth and SEC registered investment advisor. Florida license D056341.
On Guarding Your Nest Egg Radio, Mike Lester, founder of Talon Wealth, focuses on a key question many share. Do I have enough to retire?
For starters, we'll do the math for you. But to me, it's really more about lifestyle. I want to find out what's important to you. I want to find out what your expenses are. And then I'm going to give you a realistic expectation moving forward of how your money needs to be invested to accomplish your goals in retirement.
Get to know Mike at guardingyournestegg.com.
Does your sweet fur baby have a birthday or gotcha day coming up? Forever Vet's Central Location offers birthday parties to make your fur baby feel extra special on their big day. All you have to do is invite up to 8 of their friends and we'll do the rest. Forever Vets provides cake and pup cups as well as everything else to make this 2 hours a real party. Party hats, bubble play, a photo booth, and of course access to our heart-shaped pool. We also have 2 Forever Vets trained handlers there to make sure everyone is having safe fun. Visit forevervets.com today to see all our package options.
Hey guys, we're the Twin Peaks Girls. Come have lunch with us every Wednesday from 11 a.m. to 1 p.m. and listen to the Young and Norvell Show on ESPN 690.
Welcome back to the Aaron Schachter Show. A couple more minutes before we close up for the day. Shout out to all the guests we had on today. South Beach Gary, John Shipley from Fan Nation, and then Kilkenny calling in to help us out today. Having a great time. Draft in a couple of days. Still lots of draft smoke to get to. We can get to that tomorrow. I do want to talk a little bit about a story I saw earlier today, and that is the live roast of Tom Brady. We now have a date. May 5th. This officially is the live roast of Tom Brady nearly 2 years after it was announced. It took him a long time to get this one on the books.
Probably had to get the jokes approved.
I mean, I don't even think they're that far yet. Because Tom was up in the air. He didn't know if he was going to play football.
That's fair.
Then he signed on to do the booth. Then he told them, hey, I've got to pause. I'm getting a divorce. Then he bought into the Raiders. Then he put TV off for another year. And now it's all finally coming together for him. And by the way, did you see his training video the other day that was going around social media?
No, I didn't see that one.
Apparently, he's still training. I guess these guys get bored in retirement when they're almost billionaires.
I guess it's a good thing that he waited. Now they have the whole divorce thing as like a supply of content to joke about.
And it's a rich, wealthy supply of content.
Right.
But the Tom Brady roast, the greatest roast of all time is what it's called because he's the GOAT.
Right.
The greatest roast of all time, Tom Brady. It's going to be on Netflix, another live content piece for Netflix. That's going down May 5th, 8 p.m. It's going to be hosted by Kevin Hart. I don't know if you know this. Kevin Hart, 4.5 feet shorter than Tom Brady.
I'm thinking Nick Foles should host it.
That would be rough. They should at least bring him out for a little.
He should be there.
Ha ha.
He has to be there. Do a little Philly special or something. That'd be great.
So obviously, roast consists of like the worst jokes you could think of at the Man of Honor's expense.
Mm-hmm.
Do you think we're going to get any of that? Do you think it's going to get too personal? You think we'll see some Giselle jokes?
I think you get kissing your kid on the mouth jokes.
Definitely.
I think you get divorce jokes.
If I'm a comic, I start.
100%.
I start at kissing your kids on the mouth.
You're going to get a 16 peanut snack jokes.
I don't even think that's a thing.
That's a thing. He could only eat like 16 almonds as a snack when he was playing.
He's
like
also a guy that doesn't eat tomatoes.
TB12 jokes.
He doesn't like inflammatory foods.
Yeah.
Foods that swell you up.
Like beer. I think that swells you up, right?
Sure. Makes me feel bloated.
I don't know if it does or not. I just assume.
I'd be interested to see how personal they get, because I think there's a lot of good content there, but also, as big as these egos can be, they can also be quite fragile sometimes.
That's fair.
Like if you're getting AB, if you're getting Antonio Brown to step up at the podium and do some CT ESPN jokes that he's got on his Twitter account. I mean, he was the one posting pictures of him hugging Giselle.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to go that way.
See, I don't think they go that way, but I do think like maybe Nick Foles and Eli Manning make an appearance.
Do you think maybe Pat Mahomes makes an appearance?
Maybe.
Pony Boy. He lost to Brady in the Super Bowl, so it's safer.
Yeah.
Gronk will definitely be there.
Gronk will 100%.
But it's going to be the same old bit where he's just going to like spike a beer and then walk off the stage.
Yeah, Randy Moss probably there.
I don't think so.
No?
I wonder if Julian Edelman might go there, though. He's another one of these guys with a decent sense of humor. I've never seen a Randy Moss sense of humor. He doesn't seem like a funny guy.
No.
What about other GOATs? Like, you often see like Tom Brady lumped in with like a Derek Jeter, Michael Jordan, LeBron James air.
I don't trust any of them to like make a good joke though. Although
they're
they'll
not
have writers.
They have writers.
But I don't trust them to deliver it well, I guess is my point.
Shaq had good delivery at the roast.
Yeah.
I don't think Shaq makes an appearance though. Charles Barkley doesn't need any writers. That man will do it acoustic, unplugged.
He'll just go. Well, it does kind of stink that it's on Netflix, right? Isn't it on Netflix? Well, because now you got to pay for it. Like it's not just on TV.
I mean, but who doesn't have Netflix?
I don't have it anymore.
What?
It's too expensive.
Oh, because you were stealing a password.
Yes.
Oh, okay.
All right.
Now I understand.
And the person.
Yes. Now it comes out.
And the person, my parents, that won't take the hint, because what ended up happening is my mom thought her credit card got stolen, which it didn't. She just misplaced it, but she canceled the card.
Yeah.
Which is what Netflix was billing to.
One tends to do.
Yeah. So it stopped paying the Netflix bill. So I keep being like, "Hey, Mom, remember that Netflix account that you had?" She's like, "Oh yeah, we stopped paying for it." I'm like, "You didn't think you should bring it back?" She's like, "I don't know. We don't really use it." I'm like,
sucks for you, man.
So yeah, I can't even watch this.
I used to give my password out. Then Netflix started trying to charge everybody.
Yeah.
You had to take it back in-house.
Yeah.
A lot of them are going to start following suit now. I heard Disney Plus is going to start doing this. I heard Peacock is going to start doing this. A lot of the streamers, they're losing money. And I'm sitting there going, are you? Are you really losing money? Because last I checked, I think Netflix is damn near $20 a month for me.
You sure about that?
Exactly. Like Disney Plus just raised their prices twice, I thought.
Yeah.
I'm about to drop Disney Plus. You want to talk about
I'm about to be only on Disney Plus with this kid.
Well, yeah. Well, you have a need, yeah. Because I remember back during the pandemic when I started going, well, I need this streamer, because we're going to be home a lot more.
Yeah.
I think that ranking has changed a bit now.
I would love, like, I don't know, give me like a gift card that's just for streaming services. It's like $20 and I can buy a month on each one and just pop around.
I mean, the real answer is shows, but then the networks lose out on that.
Yeah, that's fair. Because, there's like one show on each platform that I actually want to watch. Like this, I would want to watch this, but then I would not need Netflix for like a month.
Just sneaky good in the streaming world. Shout out to CBS. Paramount Plus has a lot of good content on there.
That's another one my parents had canceled, and I need to get that one back.
Because that's not an expensive one. And Peacock, I think I'm paying like $5 for Peacock. And they got some good content too. Twisted Metal with Anthony Mackie. They got
That's a good one.
Resident Alien is a great show.
Fallout, while you're on the video game things, Fallout's on Prime. That one's good too.
Yeah, I just watched Fallout on Prime. It was okay. Prime's got a couple of shows, but their originals are few and far between.
Yeah.
And so I'd rather not spend the money on a network that's not going to give me originals. I like a good original.
Yeah, like Roadhouse, the new Roadhouse.
I didn't like Roadhouse. It was awfully acted.
Yeah.
Awfully. Conor McGregor walking around
but
like...
I think it wasn't like kind of the point.
Was it?
I don't know. That's why
I
I'm
can
not
only
sure.
imagine the producers and the director get together as they start filming. It's like, guys, listen, I know you want to act and stuff.
Do terrible at it.
Let's do terrible. Like,
Yeah.
I don't think that's where they were aiming for it. But it is interesting for those of you who saw the original Roadhouse with the inimitable Patrick Swayze, rest in peace, King. This movie with Jake Gyllenhaal and Conor McGregor is way different.
Yeah.
The original Roadhouse was more like a rom-com with a ton of fighting in it.
This one's a ton of fighting with no
This one's an action
actual
flick.
storyline.
There is, well, they tried. They didn't do well.
Sure. Yeah.
But this one's just a fight movie.
Yeah, literally.
Which is fine. That's what I went there for.
It's like a knockoff Rambo in a way.
Sure.
Yeah.
I didn't go there expecting like the greatest movie of all time. I just went there expecting an action flick. And that's what you got with Jake Gyllenhaal. He's a decent movie fighter. Conor McGregor, you expected a lot from. Boy, was he juiced to the gills, allegedly. Allegedly.
I would like to know.
Not trying to get you sued.
The workout routine that Jake Gyllenhaal used for that movie. I just want to do it for like 2 months.
I hear it allegedly involves creams and syringes as well. Allegedly.
Cool. Sign me up.
Oh, I'm with you. I'm with you. It's like, what do I got to worry about, Doc?
Cool. Yeah.
Show me the door to the T train. Let's go.
Let's go. Yeah. Ozempic.
That doesn't give you muscles.
But it helps me get rid of the stuff I don't want.
Fair enough.
Yeah.
I'm about to get rid of you. I didn't even have to take Ozempic to do it. It's the Aaron Schachter Show. Done for the day. We'll be back tomorrow with more fun and frivolity on ESPN 690. Have a great night, guys.
Victim of a slip and fall? It takes one phone call to take back control of your life. Anajar and Levine will fight to get you the compensation you deserve. Call me, Mark Anajar, for a free consultation. 1-800-747-FREE. That's 1-800-747-3733.
Main office, Jacksonville.
Jacksonville Koozies. It's me, Soccer Sam, from Salvatore's Pizza. Rochester, New York's favorite pizzeria is now open in Jacksonville, Florida. Tapestry Park at the Loft Hotel Plaza. $10 daily deals, dine-in beer and wine, and delivery. Salvatores.com.
We're dealing at Best Bet St. Augustine, the only card room and sports bar in St. Augustine, Florida. With non-stop action, poker games of all limits, exciting tournaments and table games, and a sports bar showing all the action, Best Bet St. Augustine has you covered. Don't miss our delicious dining options, serving breakfast, lunch, and dinner, and our always popular freshly made sushi. Best Bet St. Augustine is located at 800 Marketplace Drive off exit 311, where I-95 and State Road 207 meet. Learn more at bestbetjacks.com.
Snyderman, can you jump really high? Can you turn invisible?
Can you see me now?
Yes.
Then no.
Then what makes you a superhero? Our AC is out.
Duty calls, kids.
If your AC is running but not cooling, making loud noises, or your home's too humid, now you can schedule an appointment online at SnyderAC.com.
You're my hero, Snyderman. CAC 1813307.
Jacksonville is the largest city in the contiguous U.S. in square miles. So when you have to cover breaking news over an area bigger than L.A., Phoenix, or Dallas, you need an advantage. Action News Jax, with a fleet of news-gathering drones to take you to breaking news live as it happens. And with more investigative reporters on the ground. In every local county, you're informed no matter where you live. Action News Jax. Local coverage you can count on.
Why Arlington Toyota Pre-Owned? I'll tell you why. Over 600 vehicles in stock, one location. That's over 275 SUVs, over 200 cars, over 110 pickups. On the ground, in stock, one location. Arlington Pre-Owned even has 125 vehicles under $18,000. Plus, Arlington's 30-day exchange program is now double. That's 60 days to love it or exchange it. And Arlington's Credit for Everyone program. Shop 10939 Atlantic Boulevard or arlingtontoyota.com.
Bueller Air Conditioning presents Are You Cool?
Today's challenger, a corporate management manager from Jacksonville, Florida. Meet Les Blankston.
Yeah, hi, Bob.
That is a remarkably beige suit there, Les. Tell us, why are you on the show?